your volumes now.
Oh.
Oh, see, we're not used to that.
Yeah.
Nope.
So luckily, I didn't throw away the old foam that I had, and I just used all the black from it. When, yay! You made me a penny. Thank you. So yeah, we should be live now.
Good stuff.
Hello.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm getting the ad for it, for us being live.
All right, so a couple things before we officially begin. I thought about something while I was trying to put up the foam and stuff, and then I had like just one area for posters. But on the wall back here, what I'm going to do, because once upon a time, people were really nice in making us fan art. So what I decided to do was take this picture, which is the 35th anniversary thing, or was it 30? Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, they just reused the 30th anniversary because Nintendo. And whatever the newest fan art is, I'm just going to put in there.
Sweet.
Ooh.
So
I love it.
Yeah. And then I'll put it somewhere back here, and then it'll be on display for everyone. So if anyone wants to do that. But today I wrote out a video, edited part of the video. Maybe it'll come out, maybe it won't, who knows. But it is about the Mario thing that I told you guys about. So we're going to be talking about that. I had an idea for a bingo thing that we still might do next week, but this week we're covering Daniel, who is smart enough to remember we're not covering Daniel, no. But Daniel had a great idea of keeping all of our hopes and dreams in the star pack thing that he has on his shelf there. Is that new?
That's a bell bag.
Okay.
It's a bell bag.
Oh, you can't really see it. But I got it for Christmas from my brother last year. And it has literally about 200 actual bells in it.
Wow, that's really... Okay, mine doesn't, but I just stuffed some paper
Jingles.
to make it look, full. But actually, that was also from Christmas. That was instead of wrapping paper, that's what this sweater I'm wearing was wrapped in. Is the bell bag.
Nice.
So
Creative.
It's a very nice sweater. I'm very happy with it. I've worn it like almost daily since Christmas.
Yeah. So, everyone, you all can play along as well, but essentially the idea that I had was we would do bingo cards similar to last year that we had for E3, but it would be for like the first third or the first quarter of 2022. Basically just leading up until like March, because that's when last year Nintendo's stuff started coming out. Like all of the stuff from the first Direct was in February, and then they had their not Zelda 35th anniversary stuff coming up, like the Age of Calamity DLC and Skyloft Amiibo stuff, all that nonsense. So I thought we could do that, and then we would have another one around that time leading up to E3. And while we were talking about that, Daniel had the great idea to look back at our 2021 beginning of the year predictions. Was it the beginning of the year, Daniel?
It was, yeah. We made this whole thread on Twitter that I've got pulled up.
Oh yeah, I made such a big deal about that. I was like, be sure to comment on the thing. And then I completely forgot about it. So tell us about that, Daniel.
Sure, I will. So yeah, this is we had written our official sort of Hylian Gamescast Nintendo 2021 prediction thread. I'll start with Tubes since she's not here.
Oh, we're already starting? Before we do, can we do something?
Oh. Yeah, we can.
Yesterday was someone's birthday.
It was Bunny's birthday.
Bunny's? Okay.
Is that what you're talking about? One of my followers.
Yes.
Yeah. told me that his birthday or her birthday was yesterday during my stream. So yeah, it's good. I gave him a happy birthday message. It was nice. It was fun. You know.
Hey.
Happy birthday, Bunny. Yeah. And also, one of our friends, Mo Chocolate, was his birthday coming up.
Oh.
Yes.
That's exciting.
So happy birthday, Mo. He wanted me to record a video. I think he's doing like a clip thing with all his friends saying happy birthday. Apologies, this isn't like a standalone video, but it's in the podcast, so maybe I'll clip it out and send it to you. Happy birthday, Mo. Thanks for being so great and singing the Bear in the Big Blue House theme for me every time.
What?
Bear in the Big Blue House. Do you know Bear in the Big Blue House?
I know the show.
Do you know the song that he sings at the end to say goodbye?
It wasn't a show I watched frequently. I was a Blue's Clues gal.
Oh.
That explains a lot.
I didn't
And
watch
Barney.
shows because I never got to pick what TV channel was on.
Touche.
I watched
I should clarify
Frasier
when I was
when
able to
8.
choose.
There you go.
So with all of that, yeah, Daniel, why don't you go ahead and start us off with that?
Oh, sure. So yeah, we made this this thread of predictions.
Can you post a link
here
to it?
Yeah, let's do that. I will.
I'll put it on the screen
will.
for everyone to watch along with.
We actually made this thread, the posting date, I thought it was the beginning of last year. It was actually August.
What?
August of last
year?
2020. So it was a year and a half ago.
Wow.
It's 2020. So these are some, this is going way back, I guess. But it's kind of great. You guys are going to see just kind of how great this thread is. So 𝗏𝗵𝗲 prediction, she said that, or her prediction for the thread was that we would get an N64 emulator. She said, honestly, or honestly any emulator. We know the data is there.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? In 2021, we did get N64 online for Nintendo Switch.
Oh,
it's
you
not the
posted
greatest,
in the
but but I posted it in Discord and the live chat, Jessie. So both. But yeah, we did get it. So her prediction was successful. She wins on that mark, or she gets a point there. But yeah. So she couldn't be here today to brag herself. So we'll just say GG's all around to 𝗏𝗵𝗲.
Mm-hmm.
Geek, did you find yours on there? Did you want to read yours?
Did. So, on August 12th, 2020, I said, my prediction is we will learn of some sort of big paid DLC pack for Animal Crossing New Horizons, ideally with new stuff and not just stuff we should have had from day one. Happy Home Paradise was our big paid DLC pack, and I'm so proud of that.
Again, another successful prediction. I think that's great, honestly. I don't think I know anyone else who said paid DLC for Animal Crossing since it released in March of 2020. I can't think of another person who said that was going to be a thing. So, GG's there. Yeah. Jessie, did you have yours?
Yes. But I'm trying to think, what was the announcement date for Age of Calamity? Although that wouldn't really...
I think it was November of 2020? No, October or November? Something like that. I think it was
pretty close to its release, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a month.
So I said
release.
Nintendo will announce 3 different Zelda games before the end of 2021, 2 original and 1 remake. Although Age of Calamity doesn't count, I'm going to say it counts as a 0.2%. And we got Skyward Sword and nothing else. So yeah, it was 1.2 out of 3, I will say.
I'd give you I'd say a 1.5 out of 3. I wouldn't say 1.2. I think Age of Calamity is kind of it's I'm on the fence, but
I mean, if you believe Nintendo's marketing, it's a Zelda game.
That's true.
True.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I mean, I would say, you know, not. I would say we probably would have gotten more, but I'm willing to bet that just the way COVID stuff is in Japan right now, or it was all of 2021 and 2020, probably set things back too, right? That's my guess.
Yeah.
And now, because I really feel like bragging, my prediction on this thread was, again, this is in August of 2020. I said, I predict they're going to give us some more Metroid because it's been long enough. Also, maybe another trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, but I don't think we'll get the game yet. Sorry. Correct on both marks.
Oh, we have a super chat.
Sure.
Natsu says, I bet 𝗵𝗲𝗶𝗧𝗄𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Yes. So that's another thing.
Oh boy.
This Saturday, I guess like every maybe once a month, every few weeks, I don't know, whenever I'm feeling up for it, I'm going to try to be having a live stream verse thing where it'll just like everyone can play along, but the main purpose will just be like a one-on-one thing with Smash or Mario Kart or something. And Daniel will be the first victim this Saturday, I guess, to go along with his live stream as well. It'll be the first to 10, and the loser does a $20 eShop giveaway for the winner's followers or subscribers or whatever. Which, since it's Daniel, it's basically no matter who wins, it's the same people likely have a chance.
That's true. There's like a I'd say like 90% of my audience there's like crossover with yours, right? So,
has there any?
If that,
has there ever been a viewer that's like, "What? You're in a podcast?"
I think like maybe, but I think that usually they end up still just making the jump over here. On the very odd occasion that they find me first, they still end up coming over to you. So not so much the other way.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've been talking a big game, Jesse. You put on Twitter, you said that I was absolute garbage at Smash.
I went to your live stream and told you should just change your YouTube banner to a white flag.
Wow.
Rude.
Don't worry, I said
We were
similar
playing
stuff to HMK last night.
If we were playing against Sean Chiplock, that might be a reasonable thing to say to literally anyone. But
Well,
yeah.
maybe.
Oh yeah.
you could say that to me because I've literally never played Smash Ultimate. So
I mean, it's fun. It's great, but it's I mean, Sean is like kind of on another level with that game.
So
I watched part of that stream and I was like, "What the poop?"
yeah, like it was like 3 hours and not a single person beat him. Like he was nice enough to stream with us for like 3 hours, but not nice enough to let any of the dozens of people fighting him win one time.
I was gonna be like, "Is this even fun for him at this point?"
Yeah, and he was like, he was casually said something like the night before he was at a Smash Bros tournament, and I'm like, of course you were. But yeah, so it's Daniel's first, and then I challenged HMK, who seemed to be up for it, and then Nate from Nintendo Prime said he wanted to go, and then I reached out to Sean, which may happen, and then surprises to come after that, but those are like the first 3 or 4 people that we're looking at. So yeah. Is there a certain time you have a schedule for your streams? I only have a schedule because it's the podcast and you guys are available at this time. But if it was up to me, it would probably, like, this podcast would just never go live because I would just be that late.
Oh no!
But for you, Daniel, you have a specific time that you start your stream. So what is the time that people can look forward to your demise?
7 p.m. Pacific time, and you can make the jump over to. It'll be on my Twitch and my YouTube as well. So, yeah, the links are in the description for Cap Bergerson. Go find me. We'll see you on Saturday. Should be fun. Notice that I haven't been talking smack to Jesse, though. I'm a very polite. I'm a very polite contender in this in this match. It's the Canadian in me, I guess. So.
Yes. Oh, also, I wanted to mention I had a poll that I made on whether or not people would who they thought was going to win, and it was like
it was closer. It was pretty close, wasn't it?
It was close on like the first 2 votes, but it ended up 38% to 62%, as in Jessie has no chance. So most people are rooting for Daniel, but I have Natsu. That's all that matters.
You got Natsu. Mr. Hyro in the chat said that he votes for Jessie as well. Yeah. Should be fun. Should be fun.
Maybe
I haven't played Smash in a while though, so I'm almost thinking I should brush up because it's been a hot minute since I've played any Smash, to be honest.
maybe we'll change it up one day and have a Mario Kart against Geek.
If you really want me to lose, that's the game to challenge me at, is Mario Kart. I'm not good at Mario Kart.
Mostly because he just doesn't have it on the Switch.
This is true. That's a disadvantage for sure.
A little bit.
But even I mean, I had it on Wii U and I still wasn't great at it. So, you know, there's that.
I'm okay-ish. We need to do Mario Party Superstars.
Oh, Mario Party would be fun.
Mario Party would be a fun one.
Because you can do the 15 turn round, which usually ends up being about 45 minutes. My family and I played it every single night when I was on vacation, and eventually we were like, 15 turns isn't enough, because that's when it starts getting crazy. And
Right.
like my mom pulled a thing where she paid King Boo 150 coins to steal a star from each of us. So she got 3 stars. And I was like, bruh. But my mom and I kept looking at each other in mini games because we were both green. She was Yoshi and I was Luigi. And we would keep looking and be like, why'd I fall off? Oh, that's not my character.
That would do it. That would do it. I love Yoshi. So I always play Yoshi in Mario Party. Even though his custom dice isn't the greatest. I don't care. Because I love him.
Oh, in Super Mario Party? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I just love him. So. That's Daniel doesn't have the best-selling Switch game. It's true. It's true. I don't. I just never. I'm just not into Mario Kart enough for it.
I mean,
I guess that's what it
it's
is.
the best-selling Switch game, Daniel. Nintendo really needs your $60.
They don't.
True. Right.
So another piece of news was maybe almost a month old at this time, but I still thought it was really interesting.
Yeah.
At least the YouTube channels I've seen haven't been saying too much about it. But it was essentially a confirmation of Super Mario Odyssey 2, because a few years ago, I imagine it was a few years ago, let me look through the script that I have here and just take out parts. So, starting from Matt on Twitter, I don't have his @ on this because in the video it's just going to have the screenshot of his tweet. It says, we got more information about Sonic Frontiers provided by the Legends, TWIP, and Jeremias that are looking fantastic. We also got Super Mario Odyssey 2 concept leak. Let's go. Someone named Bulbasaur replied with, Sonic Frontiers may have just leaked Odyssey 2. For reference, we know Frontiers was in surveys like this, and it has an image of a survey, as that's how the name was first leaked. Based on what the leaker said, it may be the same survey. Starfall Islands is impossible to just guess. So basically it was someone had a survey and it had information, details, and screenshots and stuff about Sonic Frontiers and Super Mario Odyssey 2. And obviously none of the Odyssey 2 stuff can be confirmed, but since Sonic Frontiers was the other game that did end up being correct, you can imagine, since one was, the other one was as well, because they both came from the same thing. And not only did it have Sonic Frontiers being like an open world focused thing and all of the details, the screenshots kind of looked similar to what the trailer that they showed us was, the name of one of the worlds being Starfall Islands, which in the tweet he says would be a name that would just be impossible to guess. Like if you had to pick one name, you'd probably say, oh, Green Hill Zone will be featured in the thing, because that's in almost all. No one would come up with the random name Starfall Islands. So that led to a lot of people saying that they think Odyssey 2 would be real as well. And I think it is really, really cool. And the irony is, under all of the comments from the person who posted the thing, everyone's like, this is obviously fake, blah, 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 this is stupid. And it's like, it turned out to be real, and everyone just kind of forgot about it until Sonic Frontiers was revealed. And then people were like, wait a minute, that name is familiar. But one of the cool things is that they said Odyssey 2 would have a focus on multiplayer, obviously meaning Luigi, possibly other people. And it would have over 20 locations. 38 pictures were shown during the survey or the screenshots or whatever. Odyssey 2, Concept F, which the details that they had, like they took a picture on the screen, and a lot of the details were cut off, like the sentences. But this is basically what it says. If the sentence sounds weird, it's because the sentence was cut off or it was stopped in the middle of a weird word. But it says the second act, in parentheses, explore even more bizarre and beautiful landscapes as, and then the next sentence, you discover, capture, and control new enemies. Join forces with new and old familiar friends as you battle against Bowser and his loyal Goombas. Mario and Cappy head off on another adventure, but this time Luigi is along. Cappy's best friend, Bowler, almost said Bowler. Wait, is it Bowler? Because Bowler? Or is it Bowler?
It's a type of cat.
But is it a play on words as Bowler because of Bowser?
I don't know.
I would guess bowler because hats.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like what was her name? Tiara in Odyssey 1 was like Cappy's sister? Something like that.
All right, so Cappy's best friend, Bowler, has also decided to join the party. Playing with a friend is even more fun with new interactions between Cappy, creature, or enemy you can capture and control. Take off on the newly remodeled Odyssey to explore new corners of the universe. Presumably universe. Don't know what else is after that because it's cut off. Paint to customize and upgrade your Odyssey as you progress. Cappy isn't the only sidekick that will help you along your quest. Yoshi and and it just cuts off there. Presumably others. And then the next says join your party. So don't know what's between those two words. 20 distinct locations are filled with hundreds of new puzzles, creatures, and enemy. Again, it cuts off the S and whatever's after that. Hundreds of new side quests.
One enemy.
Yeah. It's like hundreds of new puzzles, creatures, but one enemy.
Just one.
It's Waluigi. It's just like everyone asked for him, and it's the only one you're getting. Hundreds of new side quests that offer up over 100 hours of additional it just cuts off at A. I imagine it would be additional adventures. Super Mario Odyssey 2 seems to be, so that's what I wrote. It's basically, Super Mario Odyssey 2 seems to be obvious. Yes, Nintendo is almost always working on a new mainline Mario game. As great as Odyssey was, the incredible amount of sales and almost perfect review scores, it is common sense that Nintendo would want to make a sequel to it, as opposed to going in a completely different direction like they did with the move from Sunshine to Galaxy, or Galaxy 2 to 3D, or Odyssey. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, new Mario Odyssey 2. I think that's what everyone was expecting, but as far as this goes, it kind of confirms it. So, interesting. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'm all for it. I loved Odyssey.
Yeah,
I thought it's still my favorite 3D Mario game, and it's just good. It's just really good. It's really polished. It's really got that Nintendo shine on it, where like just running around and jumping around as Mario just feels like superbly good, you know. And yeah, I mean, a sequel just almost seems like too good of an opportunity to pass up, I guess. So it's interesting that I mentioned going to space though, because then that kind of brings back some of the.
Did it say going to space?
Right. Something like that, didn't it?
I read it, but it just.
I said something about it.
I didn't save any of the information.
Something like that, but Universe got cut off. something like that. I have no idea. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyway,
the only thing I remember is one enemy.
One enemy though. That's my only complaint. We need more than one. So no, but I mean it's interesting though. But the thing with those surveys is that they're like very much just like gauging concepts. They don't necessarily have like gameplay to show. So like I would imagine that when that was shown or when that survey took place, things were like very early pre-production sort of things. So it might not come to fruition anytime soon. It may or may not, like depending on how the survey went or what happened with that, it may or may not, you know, have been canceled, or who knows, right? Like if they decided to greenlight it or not, even to begin with. So it's hard to say. Obviously with Sonic Frontiers though, like everything pretty much to the letter was correct in that leak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of the...
So,
no, I think from what it said, none of the details were proven to be fake. They were all either confirmed or yet to be confirmed. So it was stuff that was true from the trailer and what they said, or it was stuff that had details for things that were yet to be announced.
But for me, it confirms to me that at least at the time that survey was taking place, Nintendo was gauging interest in Odyssey 2. It does not confirm to me that we're like getting Odyssey 2 this year. I would love it if we did, but that is not necessarily going to be the case as far as I know, right? So it's I don't want to like get too like people too amped up over it, I guess. Do you know what I mean? Like with, you know, people thinking it's like it would be a sure thing and it's going to be out by Christmas or whatever. Like, you know, a lot of channels run with rumors, and that's not what we do. So, you know, there's that. That's all I've got to say.
I want to bring up that I think after this leak thing happened, there was the Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, and a lot of people presumed Bowser's Fury, since it had like different controls and mechanics and stuff, that it was what Nintendo was working on is like a Odyssey 2 or a newer Mario game, and then just took whatever they had and put it in with this game, as opposed to
Bowser was the enemy.
Who would have thought?
He was enemy. He was enemy all along.
Okay. Yeah, he was the one enemy. And yeah, like it kind of had that weird. I don't think Odyssey 2 was meant to have that Breath of the Wild feel, but like a lot of people did compare it to Calamity Ganon.
Right.
With
Calamity Bowser.
Yeah. But Geek, what are your thoughts on all of it? Who do you think new enemy will be?
No idea on that, but I agree with the fact that it just kind of makes sense with just how popular Mario Odyssey was. Not just popular, but how well it was received just in general. Like the same way it happened with Galaxy. People adored Galaxy far more than they did Sunshine, which is sad. I like Sunshine, but, you know, because of that. And that's what happened with Breath of the Wild as well. Such huge reception. They didn't have enough room for all their ideas, so they made another one. And I could very well, with the whole cappy mechanic, see that being a thing with this. I mean, if this whole bowler guy thing, I mean, I can just picture that. That sounds so creative to me. I can see it happening. Did I play Odyssey all the way through? No. I actually, at one point when I was desperate for money, sold it. Which was sad, but I was like, of all my games, I never ended up finishing that one. But that, I'm not saying it's a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just not a huge Mario person, but what I did play of it, I was like, this is a good game. It really is. And that's saying something for someone who doesn't play Mario games too often. So, it seems like a logical direction that Nintendo would go. Do I feel 100% sure? Well, no. But that's how we all are about any of this stuff anyway. But, yeah, sounds like a good direction to me.
So going into a few random stuff that the chat is saying, Daniel, did you know that Game Informer was talking about a possible Mario Kart 10? Did you ever think Mario Kart 10 would be a possibility that Nintendo might be working on?
We don't have Mario Kart
Where's
9?
yeah.
They skipped something. Unless they're considering Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Well, live
Or
tour,
9.
and then they have like that VR machine.
Yeah. Yeah,
Does
there was
that
Mario Kart
count,
Tour
though?
and the home circuit as well. I guess you could say one of those was 9.
Would you?
What if they say
guess.
both those 9 and 10 and they're like Mario Kart 11?
Um,
Well, now I'm wondering because there was like Mario Kart DS. Was that a number? Was there a number skipped over because of DS?
no, they started the
I'm
numbers
sorry.
with 7
Yeah,
on 3DS.
that's
Oh.
right. Yeah, all of them were not numbered,
Good
and then
point.
7 and 8 were numbered. Yeah,
That's true because I had Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart DS, Mario
Yeah,
Kart
Double Dash.
N64, Double Dash.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
yeah.
I
Where were the
didn't
other
think about
63 Mario Kart games though?
Mario Kart adjacent because it will share the same title. I have my hopes up for
Right.
Metroid Prime 4 Double Dash,
Ah,
where like
that. Stretch.
Samus is just giving someone a piggyback ride the entire time.
there you go.
That just
Yeah.
sounds weird.
Yeah, that would be
Um,
really. How could she do all her acrobatics and stuff?
Maybe it's just a Metroid that hangs out on her shoulder.
Oh,
Can you imagine us playing Goron Link and you're just that spinny spiky ball the whole time?
oh my goodness.
What was it? So there was the Mario Kart on handheld, or not handheld, but mobile phones. There was the
Right.
RC car. They have like the weird VR thing that they have at Dave and Buster's that you can get in.
Right, it's like the arcade machine
Yeah.
sort of VR thing.
And then I guess they have what would technically be the sequel to that for Super Nintendo Land, or whatever they have called it. Because
I think it's Super Nintendo Land.
yeah, during that Miyamoto presentation, they were showing how they're like building it and stuff, and it has not VR, but I think it's AR, to where you put the glasses on and it doesn't. You can still see everything in front of you, so you're not driving a go-kart blind, but it allows you to see the stuff ahead of you. So I kind of count it as a successor to the weird VR Mario Kart thing, but I think those are kind of their own things and not count, but they might actually count the RC car because Nintendo's just weird, or the mobile phone game.
Right.
So either one of them could be, or Deluxe. They could count that as 9. Who knows?
They shouldn't.
It's like a Windows
They-
Windows 10. They had to skip Windows 9 because internally, like in the code, Windows something else a long time ago was labeled Windows 9. So they had to skip 9 to make it for 10, which I think is just them giving an excuse. They wanted to skip to the cool name.
I guess so. Like what was it? The iPhone X? Was there?
iPhone X is technically the 10th iPhone,
Right.
which makes sense because
Cool name.
X
yeah.
means 10 in Roman numerals.
Right.
But someone was saying in chat that iPhone 9 was never a thing.
Yeah, that's what
I
was
honestly
gonna
don't
say.
know.
Yeah, it's like
Uh,
they would just they skipped over 9 and just went to iPhone 8, then like X, so 10.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
count
Yeah.
Mario Kart. Natsu in chat says Tour was 9. I don't count Tour as 9. But Nintendo...
Yeah, Nintendo's a little picky about. I don't know. Like then again, I want to say like they're picky about it. They probably won't count it. But then again, this is the same company that was like, we will never do mobile games ever.
Right.
And now they make so much money off of mobile games. So
Pocket Camp is a huge one.
Yeah, just don't leave it up to
Yeah.
Miyamoto, because maybe that's why he doesn't
Right.
directly work on games anymore, because he's always starting and stopping stuff. Because like all the the Netflix thing, they're like, oh, people found out about it? No, canceled.
right. Well,
then-
I mean, not to knock the guy. Miyamoto is a legend, right? He's great. He's wonderful. He's responsible for a great many amazing things. But
Yes,
also by
Arm.
the same
No,
token,
not
he has kind
Arms.
of right, like ARMS and
Star Fox Zero
and
Moon
Labo
Mission sequel.
robot kit. And yeah, that's right. But he he also like basically pulled the rug out of the Twilight Princess sequel.
Yeah.
But it totally pulled the rug out from under it, and like the Zelda team had like this amazing bombastic sequel planned that they wanted to do, and these great story ideas, and he just kept vetoing ideas to the point where we got Link's crossbow training instead. And don't get me wrong, I love Link's crossbow training. Unironically, I think it's super fun. But like, would I have chosen that over a proper Twilight Princess sequel? No, I would not have. Would anybody like why the Twilight Princess at the time was the best-selling Zelda game? Why wouldn't you make a sequel to that? You know, it just doesn't make sense. So I don't know. So maybe that's why he's not doing too much with games these days. He still does great things. He gave us Pikmin and Star Fox and Zelda and Mario, not in that order. So you know, he gets a pass. He gets a pass.
What was the last thing that he made? Oh, he didn't make Smash Bros, but he was kind of responsible for it being a success. Because it was originally going to be like weird polygon things, and they were like, why don't you put Nintendo characters in it?
That was more Iwata than Miyamoto.
Was it?
That was more Iwata, who also handled a great deal of the programming side of things too. And yeah, I don't think Miyamoto had much to do with Smash. Aside from maybe giving it his blessing, saying like, yeah, okay, you can put Mario in this game. It
was the closest thing we had to Metroid on Nintendo 64. No, that's what he gave us. True. Metroid Prime, because on Nintendo 64, all the different Nintendo teams and even third parties were all just like, we would love to work on a Metroid game, but we don't want to be the ones to ruin it for the Nintendo 64. So we're going to work on something else. And then he basically put together, almost said Rare, Retro Studios to work on Metroid Prime. He's like, if no one wants to work on it, then I'll just make a team to work on it.
Right.
Which they were already a team before, but...
Yeah, but Nintendo bought their shares and all that stuff.
Like, no,
the ironic thing about that is that Miyamoto is not really involved with the Metroid series. It was 𝗵𝗃 𝗀𝗃 to start with, and then Sakamoto after that. So, like, it's ironic that he was pushing for Prime to happen when he like had no involvement with the series before that.
And everyone
and after that. So
everyone's favorite, he was blackmailed into having Capcom work on the Zelda games.
True. But he was, because he had, like, whenever our third parties working on games, they basically have to like show Miyamoto stuff and get his sort of approval. And so that's actually one of his ideas was the different visor options in the Prime games. Was one of his ideas, which is also one of the people always say like, oh, the scan visors are so cool in Prime because you get to read all these details and stuff. So it's like he has these nuggets of just like amazing wisdom and just like ingenuity, you know? Yeah. Though apparently when they were getting him to test out Breath of the Wild, he wouldn't stop climbing trees, and they're like, look at all this fun stuff to do, and he just kept climbing trees. Just because it was fun to do.
Didn't we all, though?
I know, that's what I did the first time I played that game.
It's like, I can literally climb everything.
I can just climb.
And
that's true. So
another rumor thing in the chat that someone mentioned was, we kind of talked about this last week, but I'll just let Daniel give his thoughts on it. Edu Carlos Nerd says, hello guys, Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD to 2022, Breath of the Wild 2, March 2023. So I think that comes from the same person as last week, which is the same guy that every 6 months is like, Zelda Collection. Nintendo's going to be announcing it in the next 6 months, and then it doesn't come, and he's like, it'll be the next 6 months. And if Nintendo doesn't do it, then they're going to release these remakes to hold fans over, and then none of it happens. And then the same thing the next month.
That sounds sus.
Yeah, it sounds like 𝗵𝗃 I don't know how to pronounce his name.
𝗵𝗃, yeah. I think not only do I doubt that Wind Waker and Twilight Princess would ever come as a double pack, but I also doubt they would even come in the same year. Really, because they're gonna use those as like holdover games, just like to tie you over until whatever next big release, whether that be Breath of the Wild 2 or not. Yeah. And so they're they're not going to put them in the same year. I really don't think so. I really don't think they're coming together at all.
I have no doubt that there's like a high chance they could already be done, because they could just take a few months and have them ready for the Switch, which apparently Nvidia did with Twilight Princess on their own, and it wasn't even a version that was already HD. So I think Nintendo has them ready to release. They just don't have the plans for it to be released just yet. So they're waiting for something. I could see them coming.
But until regarding like Breath of the Wild 2 being 2023, until Nintendo actually says it's delayed, I'm still gonna hold on to that. They've said it's 2022.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna hang on to that.
So you guys were doing an AMA thing on Instagram the other day. So I had the idea to do one, and I gave up after like the first 10 questions were all just like, when do you think Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out?
Oh my god.
Oh no, yeah.
I was just like,
that's a move.
Just never mind, guys.
Of course. The thing is too is like, I was thinking about this, is it gonna get delayed? It's gonna be 2023 or 2022? Here's why I'm still thinking 2022 is gonna be the year, and that's just because of the way the first game was marketed versus how this game is being marketed. So we all know Breath of the Wild was shown in 2014. They said it's coming 2015. We're getting it for sure, right? Okay, that was after some time of development, and then it got delayed several times over. So, but then they showed it at E3 2016. They showed us that big trailer, and then they gave us like some nuggets until then, and then it ended up, they were very hush-hush about it until January, 2 months before it released, and then they showed us another big trailer, and then the release date, January, saying the release date was March of 2017. So basically, they were very hush-hush about it until like 2 months before, except for some E3 stuff, right? So then we got the tease of it in 2019. They'd already been working on it for a few years, and then we didn't hear much about it for a couple of years, and then E3 2020 trailer, and then we haven't heard much. And I'm just thinking, like, it's going to be the same thing. They're just being hush-hush about it like they were first game, and then we're going to find out just like 2 months or like a month before release. They're going to drop a trailer and with the release date or something. Like that's really very hush-hush about it. And I feel like the game has already been in development long enough. It doesn't need to be delayed. Nintendo's just playing their cards close to the chest this time because they had to keep pushing back the first game. And you don't have to delay a game if you never announce its date, right? So that's just what I'm thinking. That's why I think it's just 2022 feels right for it. And also Breath of the Wild is going to be 5 years old soon.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous to think about.
That is weird. I was still in college when it came out.
Yeah. So I'm still holding on to 2022 until it comes out of Nintendo's. I'm holding on to that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's fine, you know.
I made a video a while back that was talking about how crazy or ambitious Breath of the Wild 2 must be, since it began with a large portion of everything already ready to go, like the overworld, which kind of needed changes and stuff. But like, even with, people say Majora's Mask came out so quickly because everything was already done, which wasn't true. They had to build the entire world of Termina for the game. Maybe like some of the dungeon puzzles and stuff, the characters, like they were all probably carried over, but the world itself and like the character interactions and everything had to be built up. With this game, the world is already there. So, and then most of the delays came from working on the physics engine and other stuff, basically getting the game to run. And then the ideas of, because they had so many ideas, what did they want to include in the game? What could they include as DLC? And then what would they have had to leave behind? This time, they're already starting with all of that already done and the story already in their head and what they want to do and everything. So with that big boost, there's technically no reason the game should take as long as the original did to make, especially since during the original they were also working on Wind Waker and for a new console with the new engine, and now they already have all that experience, which should give them even more of a boost. but it's still taking just as long as the original game. So there must be some crazy ambitious thing they're doing with the game that we don't know about.
Right. Well, and we've seen those patents, for example, with like the new mechanics and stuff. So it makes me think that they're really, really polishing this up. It makes me very hopeful how good this game is going to be. The longer they take with it, the better I know it's going to be. But I mean, like the Majora's Mask comparison, I've been like thinking about that. Feels like kind of loose to me because, like those N64 games, they are a lot smaller than Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah.
You can fit every Zelda game's maps together combined, and it wouldn't be as big as Breath of the Wild map. And that's just how huge that game is, and that's just the map, not scenarios and scripts and stuff like that, right? So it's, I don't know, like I just feel like it's not a very apt comparison to make, just because the scope is completely different. Yeah.
Thoughts on what in particular?
Anything.
I'm not gonna lie, I got a little lost there because I've been teaching for several hours. I wanted to come out this year, and I was recording something because I did a very quick AMA. I probably got maybe like 10 questions in the amount of time I was able to wait before I needed to record. Someone was like, something having to do with Breath of the Wild. I'm like, I'm just really glad I get to say when it comes out this year. Like just being able to say that phrase, this year. It's like, now if for some reason it gets delayed, at this point with how good Breath of the Wild was, I'd be like, okay, do what you need to. Make it good.
Make it
so
good.
I'd be fine.
It's
but
true, though.
I agree about the bundle pack. That's just weird. Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are too on par with Skyward Sword to make them a bundle pack.
Well, even I've been playing through Twilight Princess. I'm like midway through a playthrough, and I'm like, there's a lot to this game, and it's like I actually think it's a little longer than Skyward Sword, actually.
Lots of dungeons.
Honest. Yeah, there's more dungeons. The dungeons are all like pretty good length as well. Maybe it's just because I find Skyward Sword is kind of not too hard of a game. Aside from maybe some bosses like Girahim can give me a hard time sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. The world design is also pretty different, but I just feel like the scope of those games, Twilight Princess is like especially lengthy. Wind Waker too, with just how much stuff. If you're doing just the dungeons, Wind Waker's not too long, but if you're doing a lot of extra stuff, it ends up being a pretty lengthy game too, right? So it's, I don't know. I just don't see them bundling those ones. I don't think that's ever gonna be the case, because they know that we'll buy it separate.
Especially because I feel like still to this day there's that, not as much, but there's that divide of, oh, Twilight Princess is way better because it's more realistic and it's dark and gritty. And then the people that are like, no, Wind Waker is better, you just hate the graphics, blah, blah, blah. There's still some of that divide. So you will still have people that are like, I don't like Wind Waker, or I don't like Twilight Princess, so.
True.
And, I'll say it to my dying breath. Yes, I will always pay to get Ocarina of Time. Thankfully, I got a bunch of other games with it this time around.
I posted
Although I
on...
didn't technically pay.
I posted on Discord and Twitter, and I think more people were upset on Twitter, but I was just saying, why is Twilight Princess the best Zelda game? Just to see what the responses would be. And some were nice, and some weren't not so nice. So yeah.
I mean, we as Zelda fans can get pretty opinionated about our favorite Zelda games, right?
Especially if we're hidden behind a screen, it's a little easy.
I actually put this up in honor of Daniel. The Twilight Princess poster.
Oh, nice.
Because he's playing through Twilight Princess. And I didn't know which poster.
Every Zelda game that I'm like, I played through a lot of Zelda games last year, and every time I'm playing a Zelda game, I'm like, no, this is like the best Zelda game. This is so good. And then I move on to the next one. I think the same thing every time. And people ask me, they're like, "What's your favorite Zelda game?" And I'm like, I don't know. Don't make me choose. hard. It's hard. Because they all do things pretty differently, but like so well.
Yeah.
You know, like I could say some games that aren't my favorite. Like I would say I wouldn't put the DS games up there. You know, they're good, they're fun, but I wouldn't say they're my favorite. You know, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's just yeah, it's hard to pinpoint a favorite there. You know, they're just so good. It's tricky, and especially playing them back to back, kind of seeing what trends carry over and what kind of gets
Mm.
taken up and all that stuff. Like it's really interesting. It seems like music in Zelda, playing music in Zelda with an instrument, like slowly died a slow, painful death since the N64 game. Like it got less and less intricate as the games went on, ironically. Which is really weird, but then they of course bring in other mechanics, transformations and vehicles, and
Right.
giant birds and all this other stuff, hidden skills, and so yeah. But I don't know if it's the best Zelda game, you know. But I couldn't say it's the worst either, or I couldn't say it's not the best either, because it does some things so well. Yeah.
I do love Twilight Princess's music. I love all of their music, to be fair.
I was thinking, I've got a script in the works, Geek, that I was thinking that you're gonna love it, because it's about a particular piece of Twilight Princess music. It's a whole script just about that one piece of music. And I was like, there was a few people I had in mind, yourself included. I was like, they're gonna love this video. So,
Yeah.
it's good. Should be fun.
I love music.
Should be fun. The Zelda music is good. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Even when it's not Koji Kondo, it's like his influence was so powerful that anyone who had to fill in his footsteps, if you will, they knew what to do. He had a clear path, and it's like, this is what you do when you make Zelda music. And they get it.
Mm-hmm. Big time. Jessie, you okay?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, Natsu in the chat said, Balsam needs to be engaged in Breath of the Wild 2, since he said he was going to look for a spouse and settle down when you talk to him.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe that was... I don't know when he said it, but it made me think, like, if he made Terry Town, so that, like, he and his wife could just live together in peace, alone, and then everyone just came in and was like... just...
Oh, no, they meet, or no, it's Hudson and Ronson. They meet at Terrytown, though.
Yeah.
Like, after they've already started building it, right?
Yeah. Because she's one of the people that you find for Sun.
The Sun people. But, oh, so Bolson, he must say that after the wedding, then. Like, context-wise, I'm thinking.
Probably.
And see, that's why I couldn't place it, because if you talk to him after the wedding, he'll go back to squatting on your lawn. So
Yeah.
I just avoid talking to him
He's
so
just
that
a
he'll
squatter.
stay in Terrytown. He is a squatter!
No, I do that too. I do that too. All three of my after the first playthrough, the second and third, I was like, I'm not talking to him again. I want him away from my house.
Yeah, I don't want that squatter.
I'm on it. Leave me alone. You have your little square ones. Go to those.
Yeah. Legit. I don't know. They don't need to sit on my grass all day. I bought that house. Come on. I gotta put a fence up.
Or me. I don't even talk.
Yeah, okay. Nat says he says it after you complete the town making quest and complete your own home. Then when you talk to Bolson, he tells you he's retired and going to look for a spouse. He's retired.
Alright.
Dude.
Comment
Imagine
of the
doing that
century.
as a retiree.
Seahawks says Triforce Heroes was good, but lacking.
I never finished Triforce Heroes.
No,
And that's
Never
coming from
started.
me.
we
I
tried.
have a vendetta against it.
Daniel and I tried ways to live stream it and could not even get it working after like 6 hours. I think it was like 2
we
or 3
tried it
hours on
on-
2 different days, and we were just like, no, let's try Four Swords again. At least it worked.
Yeah, we got Four Swords working, but we never got Triforce Heroes to work on emulator. So it's,
Yeah, the game that's meant to be played online, we could not get working, but the game not meant to be played online, we got working.
online.
Irony.
Yeah.
It is really ironic. Yeah.
Do we have any other news, or do you guys want to go to the trivia thing?
It just occurred to me that I never even looked at the Google Doc today.
I did not
no, me
update
either.
it.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
No, not sure. Not sure. Other than, I guess, it's the first, like, it's podcast of the year, which is kind of really cool. I don't know. I was just thinking about, we were talking about Breath of the Wild 2, if it'll come this year, and that kind of thing. And I was thinking about, like, the lineup this year of games, and I was like, it feels like 2017 again. You know what I mean? Like, you got, like, the lineup of games just feels like just as solid as that launch year.
There was that meme image thing going around where people were like 2017, and it was like Breath of the Wild and Mario and all this stuff, and then it was the same with 2022.
Right, with like you've got Mario Rabbids, and its sequel now coming out this year, I think. Yeah, just it feels good, man. It feels good. I'm really excited for games this year. And I thought like 2021, gaming wise, like I played a lot of games, but a lot of them were old games so, that I was replaying. So I'm just looking forward to a lot of that stuff. But yeah, we could do trivia if unless you guys have anything to add there.
No, and after we do trivia, if people in the chat come up with a piece of news or something that we can cover, then we'll do that afterwards. But there was one thing that I was wanting to talk about, but it was just like it was just more rumor stuff that we've already talked about, like Mario and other stuff supposed to be coming out. One thing coming this year, hopefully, cross his fingers, unless it's just banished to the Dark Realm, is Metroid Prime 4. I'm hoping comes this year. Who knows?
We'll see. I would love that because I just finished Prime 2 and I'm like gearing up to start Prime 3, and I guess I just forgot how darn good those games are, man. I don't play many like first-person shooters, like that, but the Metroid games are totally their own thing. Like it's a first-person game, but it's not like a first-person shooter. Do you know what I mean? So I cannot wait for Prime 4. I've been on a total Metroid kick though since like the summer, so there is that. But yeah, we'll see when that gets. We've gotten even less info about that game than Breath of the Wild 2. So
no, see, the thing that I think is funny is people. So some people are like, well, Nintendo hasn't talked about it this year or last year, so I don't think it's coming. And it always reminds me of games like
Age of Calamity, where they announced it,
or even
Paper Mario
with the new Pokemon games, like the Gen 4 remakes or Arceus Legends, whatever, where it was like 6 months away and then it was releasing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Nintendo would love to be able to do. And I think that maybe that was what they were trying to do originally with Breath of the Wild, but things happened. And maybe that was what they were planning with, not necessarily Metroid, but like I doubt they wanted it to take like 6 years to come out. Yeah, so I'll post in the Google Doc for you guys to join, because it still says there's...
All right. I have to open the Google Doc now.
Yeah, I know, me too. I'm like, what?
Why don't Google Docs have a dark mode like every other frickin' website?
Right.
Look at this. Look at this white light shining on me. There. I look good. Lighting's good. And then I put on the Google Doc and it's blinding. It's blinding.
Let me see if I can... So it's there
also,
for you guys to... Yes?
Natsu in the chat said, Daniel got me into Metroid, so thanks for making me spend too many hours playing games. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad I could get someone into Metroid. Do you know how that actually like is super flattering to hear, like to say like, oh, you got me into this game, like that. Just
there's
like,
a super chat, but I don't understand
there
it.
Is. 𝗵𝗃, like 𝗵𝗃 𝗄𝐵𝐴. 𝗵𝗃's story ended in heartbreak and tragedy. Thank you for the super chat, Taker610. I am a little confused though.
Yes.
How did it end in heartbreaking Oh, because of the virtual boy.
Oh
Is that
yes.
what you mean?
That hit. Okay.
Oh.
That makes
Wait,
sense.
Jessie, did you post a new code? Because I do it from my phone.
There's a slight delay, so I can just tell you. 937.
Oh. Yeah.
4066.
Yup. Okay. I also really have to use the restroom real quick.
So that was the code if everybody else wants to join. 937-4066. Daniel, could you post that in the thing? Oh, you misspelled your name, geek.
What? I did. Hold on, let me get back out.
Oh, I don't know if you want to do that. People might join
Why?
too fast.
It'll be fine.
All right.
I'll make it work. I shall make it work. What was the code again?
937-4066. 937-4066.
I typed too fast.
937-40.
I put it in the
There it is.
YouTube chat here as well. So
It says 10 people can join, but sometimes it lets like 20 or 30, and sometimes it doesn't let any. So who knows?
Sure.
Who knows? You may be the lucky one here, and you may just. I mean,
Just
is playing with us really lucky, anyways? Who knows?
is it? I don't know. I don't know. Is there a theme to this week's trivia, Jesse?
There are some A Link Between Worlds stuff. One of the answers is not your cat. As I was saying earlier to Geek, I was trying to give her help, so I was telling her what the answers weren't.
Right. So not my basement.
Most of the time, the answers are not Daniel.
Most of the time. But not all the time.
Yeah, here we are. So this is it. It has a snowman theme. We have 14 people, which is at least 2 more than 10. At least.
At least. At least 2 more. Maybe more. I like the snowman, though. He seems nice. He seems polite. Got Ro, Luje, Mr. Haro, Gibbs, Seahawks, Tofu, Marvelous Spyro, Jans, Kim, Justin, Natsu.
Oh, Geek's back.
Bass.
I am back.
I was just telling Daniel that I was giving you which answers were not.
He's cheating.
Yeah.
He told me your cat's name is not an answer. Jenny is not an answer.
Could be, though. It's
Well,
the
I never
answer
said
to,
Jenny. Let's
did
get
I
that straight.
give pets to today. That's the answer.
Nope, that's not it, right?
It could be.
Well, there's a thing I'm looking for, but I don't.
I don't know.
There are 2 chat boxes? What is this?
Marvelous Spar says the snowman is part of the Zelda lore.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. He's on Snow Peak. He's. I love it.
Remove. Yes.
No. Maybe so.
Okay, so I'll make this smaller then. That way it doesn't cut out anyone's name on the chat.
Alright.
And then I'll move this over here. And then I'll make the chat a wee bit smaller.
You know what we could do next time? Is have like a separate scene ready in OBS.
Well, I do,
Or just-
but it only works. So I set it up a different way than. Yeah, it's complicated. Nobody wants to hear it.
Oh, OBS is always complicated.
Mhm.
Do you ever have the issue with OBS, or I use Streamlabs, for example, where occasionally it'll update and then just forget all of your settings, and then
Yes.
and you're like, what the hell, man? Why'd you do this?
All right.
I'm
I
going
have
live
too
in
many
3 minutes.
scenes.
Here's the thing, people that are oh, Hilda, that was almost an answer to one of the questions. Hi Gibbs.
Oh.
Hi Gibbs. 𝗵𝗵𝗲 𝗵𝗲 𝗂𝗵𝗲 So after this, we're going to be doing questions Q&A, and there were no reviews on iTunes, so there's that. We usually read out reviews
Rude.
and stuff. Yeah, Tofu, Jams, Justin, Indy, Ziru, Ro, Lujay, Geek, Bats, Tofu, Marvelous, Spyro. Do I know who you are, Spyro?
He's a dragon.
I was about to say he's a purple dragon.
Well,
Yeah, same way.
I mean, yeah. Someone
I'm
from
not
Twitter.
wrong.
I think you know
A
too, Geek,
dragon.
or not Geek, Daniel. You may know from Twitter as well. There's a person that
I'm
always
like, I
changes.
know a marvelous water.
No, they always change their picture and username on Twitter to Spyro. They work for a company.
What?
Oh.
This is the best I can say. Yeah.
Now you've lost me. I don't know.
Oh. Well,
I'm sorry.
16 people. There's 14, 15 seconds ago. So yeah, do not, just an average person that is well, that is something that they would say. So I don't. Anyways, 17 people now. So there is a I went to say this 3 times and my mind keeps getting
I
boggled.
ate the banana.
So it said there was 10 people allowed to play. Obviously, it's letting us do more, which is really great. But the thing is, if you're playing along, do not play along with the live stream. Actively be looking at your device, your phone, your tablet, your computer, your crystal ball, whatever it is that's allowing you to play this game.
Your smart
And-
fridge.
Yeah, yeah, your Skyrim worthy fridge. So yeah, pay attention to it because it'll be on the correct time, which I think some people may think that I give Daniel the answers, but I give questions, or I try to think of questions to throw Daniel off.
Which of
and-
course means we're all thrown off.
Yeah, so it's
It
not
doesn't help when you come up with the questions while watching me stream the game.
the only
True.
I can't get over the fact that he was able to beat Joe when it was questions on Gorons from Breath of the Wild, where he plays 2 Gorons from Breath of the Wild. Maybe he cheated during that one. I don't know. I can't say. But again, pay attention to whatever it is you're playing on, not the stream, because the stream will be a few seconds ahead. Jorge joined, and then someone left, and then someone else joined. Okay.
Are you gonna accuse me of cheating after I beat you in Smash on Saturday?
No, I mean, if anything, I'll blame it on myself. My hand isn't fully recovered. I have slow
Right.
finger movements from when
Cheating
my
thing is what my family does every time I kick their butts in Mario Party.
Mm.
Every time, whether it's a mini game or the whole game, they'll be like, "Well, she cheated."
so
Oh.
okay. We have 19 people. I was trying to hold off until we had 20. But yeah, while we try to wait for 20, one of the fun, not so fun things was, you all know when Age of Calamity came out, I wasn't able to play it. So
Right.
when I was able to play it, I was playing it with my brother in multiplayer mode, and I was
I'm so
losing
sorry.
every single, I was just constantly dying because my reaction time, because my hand was still it wasn't paralyzed at the time, it was slowly, I had movement in it. So, like, I would go to press a button, and it would be, like, a second later. Like, people talk about the delay in Ocarina of Time and being mad about it. Imagine trying to play, and, like, you go to press a button, and then you, like, physically have to, like, wait a second before the person jumps. Not just, like, a frame or two that people complained about, but, like, an entire second. Okay, we got 20 people said, "Hi, I'm Botlight." I don't know who that is, but sure. Maybe a robot. Someone dropped out. Okay, fine. I don't care. We're starting. You can join if you want. 937-4066. Question 1 starts now. Kahoot.
Sweet.
Daniel will lost in Smash is the title of this quiz. 3, 2, 1. Pay attention to what was Capcom's first Zelda game? Oracle of Ages and Seasons, Four Swords, Minish Cap, A Link to the Past. Pay attention to the questions on your device, not the live stream, because the live stream will be delayed, and you will lose every time, even if you get all the questions correct.
Yeah.
True.
14 people got it correct. And if something is wrong on this, I apologize. I did double check this time.
Okay.
So,
Sounds good.
14 people picked Oracle of Ages and Seasons. 5
dang
people
it.
picked... How did 5 people pick Minish Cap?
I did.
Did you?
Oops.
Yeah.
But,
I
like,
don't
that's
know.
Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance.
I don't know why. I was thinking that Capcom didn't do the Oracle games. I don't know why I was thinking that.
Well, they
So I was like, oh, Minish Cap.
Okay.
Oopsie.
See, I put the answer as Four Swords. This is what I put as the answer because they began doing the remakes before they did their original games, but then they switched to doing the original games, and Four Swords released alongside one of the remake port things that they did. So even I was confused, and then I was like, wait, that was Game Boy Advance as well.
Now you've confused me.
What do you mean?
You just everything you said. My brain.
Because a link to the past.
like it.
Four Swords came with
Brain
A Link to the Past.
Brain says no.
No, Four Swords came paired with A Link to the
Yeah.
Past.
Yeah, for GBA, but
Yeah.
the Oracle games were Game Boy Color.
Yes.
So
That's what I mean.
more-
But Capcom began creating remakes and ports and stuff.
You're breaking my brain.
Because they started with the original Zelda game, and then they just folded it into Oracle of Ages.
Okay. My brain is trying to keep up. Let's do the next question.
It's the
Yeah.
essentially it's the fact that they don't look like Game Boy Advance games, basically. But anyways,
It says I'm
Gibbs
tied with myself.
Gibbs is in first. That's because you probably logged in twice, and it's counting.
Tied with.
Is it doing
yourself.
that, or is it Geek Apprentice with an E?
It has Geek Apprentice, but there's no E at the end. It's a D.
Okay.
The one I misspelled.
Oops.
So I don't. Okay.
So this apparently worked out well because Daniel is not even ranked. Gibbs came in first.
I know. I clicked too slowly. I still got the question right, but I clicked too slow.
Oh, okay. 2 of 10. What was Grezzo's first Zelda game? Majora's Mask 3D, Four Swords Anniversary, Adventures of Daniel and Tingle, Ocarina of Time 3D.
I should have gotten that one right. I would hope.
Some of them, like the rest, I believe are in-game based, so not outsider knowledge.
Yay!
People-
I'm still in 16th place, but yay!
Some people must have clicked too soon with Majora's Mask 3D.
They did make that one, but
Yeah,
But not first.
it was weird. Majora's Mask took like a year to make, but then Majora's Mask 3D took like 4 years.
because they added all those eyeballs.
And
Yeah.
fishing ponds.
And 𝗷𝗵𝗲 said he didn't want to have anything to do with it. He's like,
Oh.
development of the original was a nightmare, so I hired a director for this game. Whenever they
Ooh.
remade it.
Very
Which was a
nice.
bad choice, if you ask Daniel. 𝗷𝗵𝗲 should have just remade it instead of hiring the director.
Or Or they should have had the director not make so many changes, I guess. You know? I mean, if they just were more faithful in their remake.
Kat Bergerson in 5th. Gibbs still in 1st.
I bumped myself up.
Now,
from 8th.
remember, people. Oh, Jorge.
Yes.
I guess he was the one that... He said he didn't read Ocarina of Time 3D as an option. So I guess Jorge was the one that put Majora's Mask 3D. So remember, I want to stress this. Do not play along with the live chat. Play with your device. Because if you play with the live chat, you're going to lose. I feel like there's a lot of people that do that, even though I say it, because they just want to listen to the podcast.
They want to listen to your voice.
Not mine. Which item does Midna mistake as a mask? Daniel's gross face. Seriously, Daniel's gross face. Shield. Sword.
What the heck?
So mean.
Oh, man. Ouch.
So rude.
One person put Daniel's
I
gross face.
answered so quick, and it only bumped me up one spot.
Oh.
Oh. So Gibbs is in 1st now. Daniel in 3rd.
Good job. GGG.
Blue Jay in 2nd. Bats in 4th. Seahawks in 5th. Marvelous Spyro climbed the highest with 3 places. Alright, next question. 4 of 10. Which Majora's Mask dungeon heavily features Majora's Mask symbolism? Great Bay Temple, Stone Tower Temple, Snowhead Temple. Daniel's going to lose in Smash on Saturday.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know how these answers get. It's not like I'm the one that makes these questions and answers. It's like
It's not like that at all.
this is the world
Not at all.
saying something.
Not at all.
Great Bay Temple. See, in 3D, I think a bunch of the stone blocks in the dungeons that you push have Majora's Mask on them. But
They do in the N64 version as well.
yeah, but there's literally a giant statue of Majora's Mask in Stone Tower.
This is true. This is true. I would say that one features the most symbolism for it. It's just the push blocks in the other dungeons. That's it.
That's true.
No one really changed, except Hero of Hyrule came to 5th place.
I went up to 14th.
Yeah,
Nice.
3 players reached 3 streak. Cool. Alright, next 5 of 10. Where does Link first meet Tingle? In Our Hearts and Dreams, Daniel's Basement, Clocktown Jail.
I mean, this depends on which game you're talking about.
Yeah,
His
I know.
first appearance. Where does Link
then I
first...
I assumed that's what you meant.
Yeah.
Because when I saw the jail one, I was like, well, for Wind Waker.
Yeah, right? And then, my basement, that's just for Saturday nights. So...
That's so messed up.
Well, it'll
He's
be
allowed-
Smash Bros. This Saturday.
Who spot?
I think Tingle would be really good at Smash Bros.
I think so.
Gibbs,
Maybe even OP.
Daniel, are you going to lose this one? You're down by 93
Never.
points.
Oh, that's not even that many.
Yeah,
It's
considering
like last time I lost by, 7 points or something?
considering by the end of it we have like 10,000 points, losing by like 2 points.
It's really close.
All right, next question. 6 of 10. Which cute, cuddly creature in Skyward Sword becomes a monster at night? Mogwai, Remlet, Daniel's new kitty, Mogwai, or Mogma.
I couldn't remember what it was called.
Well,
I know what it looks like, but I
I
couldn't
remember the name. Okay, I kind of guessed
Okay,
on it.
good,
I
I
remember
got it
the
right.
name was Mia. That was the pet, the name of the pet. But I couldn't remember what the species was called.
Mogwais are from the old movie Gremlins, which a lot of people picked. Because you're not supposed to feed them after midnight. Remember?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Got it right, though.
And then I put Mogma in there because...
Those weird, annoying, talk too much creatures.
Yeah, because
These are
people
fun.
think... usually on multiple choice quiz, they'll have like one answer, and then the wrong answer will be kind of similar to the right answer. So I put Mogma and Mogwai because they were similar. Anyways, next question.
Tricky.
Ooh, Daniel's in second place. Who is Link's Larulian cowardly counterpart? Ravio, Daniel, Tingle. Seriously, Daniel.
It's me. It's me.
Oh, everyone got Ravio. Nice.
Ravioli.
Heads up, I think
would hope so.
the next
Ravioli sounds really good right now. Cheese
next
ravioli.
question is also a Link Between Worlds, I believe.
Okay.
You're down by about the same, Daniel. Yeah. It didn't change that time. Rinkuru has a 3-question streak. 8 of 10. Which is a Link Between Worlds first official dungeon? Eastern Palace, Western Palace, Daniel's Palace, Western Palace.
I have
Weastern?
no idea.
Western.
Weaster.
I just combined East and West.
Yeah, I knew I got that one wrong.
Oh.
It's the
honestly
one
had
with
no idea.
the guy that I cannot pronounce his name. It's like 𝗧𝗵𝗲
I don't know if it was East or West. East sounded right, but then I decided to put West.
And he's
Just
like,
'cause-
he tells you to go to the library. And I'm like, I would need to visit a library to learn how to pronounce your name.
It's a Hasrilla.
Well-
yeah, it's east. Like, it's west.
Daniel, you went down to third. Gibbs is gonna win.
I
Oh,
clicked so
but you're
fast.
closer. You're closer. Even though you went down, you're closer to Gibbs this time. You're only down by 42 instead of like 60. But Lujay is like right in the middle of both of you.
Was it Luigi that won last time as well?
No, Gibbs has been in first since the beginning.
Sure, but I mean
He's
last
got that
trivia night.
Texas internet
podcast.
speed.
Ah,
I don't know if that means anything, but
I don't know.
it could be a thing. All right, next question. Giving everyone time to get ready. Look at your phones, not the screen. 3, 2, 1. 9 of 10. How many pillows is Impa sitting on in Breath of the Wild? 4, 2, 3, Daniel.
I don't know.
I had to guess.
Me too.
I just know she's sitting on pillows, but I don't know how many. Oh no. Oh, I got it.
Man.
Few.
Man, I was climbing my way back up. And
Daniel's
now I'm
in
back where I
first. Sergeant in second, Indy in third, Gibbs in fourth, and Lujay in fifth. You're winning by 400. I wonder what Gibbs picked. All right, final question, I believe.
Okay.
3,
10 out of 10.
2, 10 of 10. Who warned of Ganondorf's return in Breath of the Wild? The King, the Seer, Astor, Daniel, Fortune Teller.
Okay, good.
10 out of 10. Answer streak of 10.
Some people said Astor, and Astor wasn't in Breath of the Wild.
No. Technically, the fortune teller, which was the correct answer, wasn't either. Just only mentioned, but
Right.
yeah. But Astor was not even mentioned.
And the book,
No.
the book that mentions the fortune teller, what is it? Masterworks?
The champion. Masterworks is just the Japanese
Yeah.
version.
Okay. Creating a champion.
Yeah.
Heavily implies that it's Zelda's mom, because after it says stuff about her being mysterious, it's like it basically says something like the only person the king would trust with, like, whatever, would be someone really closely linked to the family, and then implies like Zelda's mother, like having wisdom and being able to whatever, all that fun stuff.
The only issue with that is like
all of
when
it.
you read the king's journal, he doesn't say, "Oh, my dearly beloved wife had this prophecy." He says like, "If the fortune teller is to be trusted," and that doesn't sound like how you would talk about, your wife.
Well,
I hope.
I wonder what the
I
Japanese
mean-
journal says. Gibbs says he picked
That's
4
true.
pillows. Gibbs lost because he picked 4.
You picked 1 pillow.
Jorge's
Too many.
right. Always in 3s. With Breath of the Wild and Zelda, it's always in 3s.
Except for
But
4
what
Divine
about
Beings.
the
Unless it's
Tetraforce?
Fire Temple. Unless it's Fire Temple keys.
Unless it's Fire Temple keys. No!
Alright. Daniel Will lost
Oh.
in Smash. Lou J came in 3rd. Sergeant came in 2nd. Who came in 1st? 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗃.
The king is back.
And then Gibbs in 4th. Bats in 5th.
You're
Alright.
Turn of the
Burger King.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I will say their Cinnabon cinnamon rolls in the morning are like the only thing I like at that fast food.
Only
restaurant.
one difficult question.
No,
it
and their
says.
hash browns.
9
Other than
people
that.
did not answer the final question.
Oh. They're just like, who cares? I'm not. I'm out.
I mean,
not doing it.
you knew the answer wasn't Daniel. We're the king, because the king is told who it is. And then Aster's not even in the game. So, even though it was kind of vague, because Fortune Teller isn't directly mentioned in the game, I still feel it's like the only logical answer. Because if the king is told,
Hmm.
then it has to be someone who tells the king.
Right.
And
Right.
none of the others are in the game, except for the Fortune Teller. I don't know. I thought
He
it was
told
kind
himself.
of... He's like,
He's like, you know what?
that's
I
why I
say
didn't
so.
trust him. He's like, I can't trust myself with sneaking out and getting snacks in the middle of the night. I can't trust myself telling Fortune.
I can't trust myself with my temperament towards my daughter, apparently.
Yeah.
Oof.
He decided to go the harsh route and it didn't work. What always killed me is that when you read his journal and he's like, she's going to try this one more thing, and if it doesn't work, I'm just going to completely... He says he's going to change his tactics or whatever and probably go more, like, soft, kind father route. And that's when he dies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
Spoilers.
okay.
Regret.
Yes, for
Yeah.
a game that's been out almost 5 years.
I loved whenever the trailer first came out and everyone's like, who's the old man? And I'm like, who does it look like?
King. Wind Waker.
Like,
Right?
they just
Yeah.
Like every king.
they just finished making Wind Waker HD. And now there's a character that looks just like the
Darkness.
king did in Wind Waker. And if you go back through all the games, even like the 2D pixel models, all the kings look the same. And
Yeah,
They
it's
all
like,
look like Santa Claus.
yeah, so it's
They
like,
do.
but I made a video talking about it. And just to give variety, because I knew there was already so many people that's like, it's not the king or whatever, it's not Zelda's dad, that would be too easy. And I'm like,
Well,
Alright.
Sometimes the obvious answer is
yeah, it's like how
correct
you
answer.
obviously from the new trailers we play as a young Ganondorf in Breath of the Wild 2, not Link.
it kills me. It's just that his hair and body type and everything is exactly the same as Link's, but, you know, we'll just ignore that.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
I guess it's the same thing with that. People are like, oh, it's too easy to say it's Ganondorf. And I'm like, it's because it is.
Right.
Pretty obvious. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's not, I will happily say, wow, I was wrong. But,
oh yeah,
So
like
what is
who's
term?
the mummy?
yeah.
Yeah. Is that the right razor? Yeah, that is it. I had to Google it. Occam's razor is a principle of theory, construction, or evaluation, according to which, other things equal, explanations that posit fewer assumptions or entities are more likely to be true. The less assumptions, the better, basically.
Oh, I always go by the one that's like after you exclude all of the impossible answers, whatever's left has to be the answer.
That too. That's, what is that? Sherlock Holmes?
I don't.
Isn't that legit Sherlock Holmes?
I don't know. I mean, I don't watch BBC.
All right. I'm pretty sure that's legit the Sherlock Holmes.
I would watch
could be wrong.
BBC, but
You've
I
never
don't
seen
have
Sherlock Holmes.
it. It's
So, I mean,
wonderful.
you know,
I
this
learned.
existed before.
Speaking of Sherlock
stepped in and-
Holmes, Benedict Cumberbatch, who plays Sherlock Holmes in the BBC version, is related to the author who wrote Sherlock Holmes.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, he's like the great-great-grandson or something like that.
Nepotism. I'm just kidding.
I mean, honestly, it could be. He could just be like, I'm an actor, I'm British, why not me?
I mean, there's only like 100 of them to choose from.
Yeah.
Not even.
Yeah, Aaron in the chat's like, that's from Sherlock Holmes. Well, it works for him.
It is.
If it
you
works
can
for
argue with his
Sherlock,
result.
It's true. Very true.
if it works for him, it'll work for me and Zelda.
Someone
Alright.
always told me, they were like, yeah, I don't know what it is. It just seems like, you know, those British actors, they get like a lot of airtime or whatever. I'm like, you notice it's like the same 100 or less?
There's like 12 British actors, and they just play every role in Hollywood. So
Oh, yeah. And
So-
they're
Yeah,
good.
everything.
They have real good training. It's
Or-
just Benedict Cumberbatch, as good as he is, looks like a lizard to me.
He's in a really, really good TV show. No, it's on Hulu. It's like a 4-part miniseries. Really, really, really good. Can't think of the name of it, but it is. And then there's another one with the guy that plays Loki. That's in another show that was on Hulu. That's really, 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 really good. But our first question for the...
British.
Huh?
He's also British.
I think it's Australian. Is he British? I don't know.
Is he Australian? No. Isn't he British?
My
Nah, I
favorite
don't know.
Australian show is Beauty and the Geek Australia, though. But we have a friend that was on it, so I may be biased.
Speaking of nepotism, that's all. It comes full circle now. There you go.
So yeah, our first Q&A Zelda mailbag question, which you guys can put yours in the chat. But our
Yes.
first one was one that we skipped last week, which made me do a bunch of the research, and then inspired a couple of the Capcom questions that was in this mailbag. Or not mailbag, but the Triforce trivia. But from Patreon supporter 𝗏𝗏𝗏, question for the mailbag. Do you think we'll ever see another Capcom-made Zelda game, perhaps sooner than later? I love Minish Cap so much. They did such an amazing job. It's a shame we haven't seen them do another. I'm guessing it's because Nintendo hasn't let them. Can't imagine why, if that is indeed the case. So, I'll go first, because I did a few hours of research, because I felt bad for missing it, because he messaged me and said that he had the question and it was left out or whatever. And yeah, so
Oh,
here's the thing. I kind of mentioned this earlier. Capcom sort of... I don't want to say Capcom. Like the director guy that was like in charge of that team kind of blackmailed Nintendo into letting him work on Zelda games. Because he was like, hey, we want to remake a Link... Or not a Link to the Past, but the original Zelda game for Game Boy. And if you don't let us, we're just going to make our own Zelda-like game and just change the names of the characters. And Miyamoto was like, you're hired. So they went off to do that, but then the team I think they got a little bit too ambitious because they had like 5 or 6 different projects, to where like they had the original Zelda that they were going to remake for the game. They had the 3 games, like all the Oracle games that were going to connect. They had other stuff that they were going to be working on as well. And it ended up just becoming Minish Cap and the Oracle games, and then like half of a game, which was 4 Swords. They never released a bunch of the Zelda stuff they were working on. But the reason why they ended up quitting or leaving was because that guy who was in charge of that team, first it was so it wasn't fully Capcom that made those games. It was that guy from Capcom was basically the one that was just the main developer, director in charge of the team. And Capcom kind of created or had like a like their version of Grezzo, I guess, or Retro or something like that, or Rare, where it wasn't like main Capcom, but like a side thing where this guy was from, but they were still connected to Capcom. Was that called a subsidiary? I don't know. But that team was called Flagship. And Flagship, Nintendo donated some of its developers to Flagship to work alongside Capcom, as did, which blew my mind, Sega. So all those games were like a collaboration between not just Nintendo and Capcom, but Sega. It was just mostly ran by Capcom. But it was called Flagship. And the Oracle games, there was a lot of... So it started out not from a good place, because it was blackmail. Nintendo and Miyamoto was like, well, we don't want another competing game to go up against ours, because it was kind of early in the Zelda franchise at that time, so it wasn't like the massive thing it is now. It was just like a few different games at that point in time, because I think they just came out with like Link's Awakening or something like that, and the Game Boy Color just came out. And then the team that blackmailed them into doing this, even though people love the Oracle games, they apparently were very, very inexperienced, because they started out wanting to do just the remake, and they had trouble remaking the game. It was taking too long, and it was like they didn't have to come out with any new ideas, they just had to copy the game over, which they had trouble doing, so they folded it into the Oracle games, which is supposed to be 3 games that had trouble, so they scaled it back to 2. So it was like trouble after trouble, delay after delay. And they finally came out with the games. They were good. And then they finally did their remake with the Game Boy Advance, but they didn't have as much trouble because the Game Boy Advance was more powerful, so they had a lot more leeway to do stuff and not have to be as technical and all that, so they were able to port A Link to the Past and Four Swords as like a weird multiplayer thing. And then they had Minish Cap that they worked on. But by the time Minish Cap came around, the director who originally blackmailed them had left the team. And for Minish Cap, I think it was the lead director from Capcom that was always in charge of the Mega Man series, Inafune. And after Minish Cap, he left Flagship. And then that's also where Fujibayashi came from, who left Minish Cap and Capcom and started working directly for Nintendo on like Phantom Hourglass. And then that went on to Skyward Sword, and now he's the director for Breath of the Wild and Breath of the Wild 2. So all of the main people that was in charge, even the guy that originally blackmailed them, all left the team. And the team, it's like those were the guys that were presumably the good developers, because the team that was left was the team that had all the trouble on all the previous games. And then Capcom just folded Flagship into their own thing to work on their own games instead of Zelda. So presumably that relationship could have continued, and in a way it did. But instead of Capcom doing it, it seems like Nintendo just hired all the good people from that team themselves. So we went from all the good people that worked on Minish Cap just moved on to Phantom Hourglass, basically. And instead of working for Capcom and Sega and Nintendo, they all just moved directly to Nintendo. So technically, some of the same people that was working on that Capcom team are still in charge. And the main person who is one of the main people that was in charge of the Capcom Zelda games is literally the person who is the main person in charge of Breath of the Wild and Breath of the Wild 2 with Fujibayashi. So technically, we're still getting Zelda games from the people who were in charge of the Capcom Zelda games, like the people that were actually able to say, we're going to have this story and this dungeon and this and this and this, like the people that was actually able to influence what the game actually was. seemingly just got hired by Nintendo. So there's no point in Capcom working on Zelda, because all those people that would be working on the game aren't the people who worked on the original games, because all those people, or at least most of them, are now at Nintendo. So if you wanted Capcom to work on a follow-up to Minish Cap, that's basically Phantom Hourglass, because they went directly from that to this.
I had no idea that they, especially Fujibayashi in particular, had kind of like jumped ship that way, or that's where he had gotten started with Zelda, because he played a very key part in both Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's neat, actually. So in a way, we still do have those people.
Yeah, he went from Oracle Games to Four Swords to Minish Cap, and then
that's
Phantom Hourglass.
That's
yeah, and then before Oracle
like
Games, he worked on Tetris.
Oh, there you go. Another favorite of mine.
Yeah, and he's the
like
director
like
of all of them.
People behind it, rather than the label of the company. Because Capcom's just a giant corporate conglomerate company, etc. Right? It's really those creative people that make the difference, that put that Nintendo magic in it, right? So, yeah. So that's more important almost. So we probably won't see another Capcom Zelda game. We don't need one.
It reminds me of the situation to where all the people from Rare that worked on the Banjo games ended up,
right,
not all of them, but a bunch of them ended up going to Playtonic, which was the developer that I was actually talking about earlier with the Spyro person. But at Playtonic, yeah, so Playtonic isn't Rare by name, and they made Yooka-Laylee, which was based off of Banjo, like a spiritual successor. And even though it's not the same company, it's technically the same development team, just with a different name, or at least a lot of the people are from that original team. And a lot of people say they want Rare to make a new Banjo game, which would be nice to have a new Banjo game. But in their minds, they think all the same people that made Banjo are still working at Rare, when a lot of them have moved on to other places, such as Playtonic or other developer studios. So it's like you could get a new Banjo game from Rare, but it wouldn't be that same team that worked on the previous ones. So it's kind of that same situation, to where people from Rare moved on to Playtonic and other places, and the people from that Capcom team flagship moved on to Nintendo or other parts of Capcom. So
that's a pretty apt comparison, actually. Pretty, yeah.
And another one is, I now look at Grezzo as the Capcom, like the next generation of the Capcom Zelda games is Grezzo. But my hope was, after Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask 3D and the Four Swords anniversary thing, all that stuff they were doing, Nintendo would be like, okay, you obviously know what you're doing with the 3DS and this Hero of Time Zelda engine, so just make your own third Hero of Time style Zelda 64 game for the 3DS. Since you know what you're doing with the engines, you had freedom in Ocarina of Time, you got more freedom in Majora's Mask, now just do your own thing. Daniel says freedom. No, I say freedom. Daniel says destruction. They destroyed.
But, I mean, they did a bang up job with Link's Awakening. They did so
really
well.
did.
Yeah, when I think of like a remake that is like the perfect remake of a game, it's Link's Awakening.
Or
so good.
The Gen 4 Pokemon remake.
But I didn't get it, actually. I didn't buy that. So.
Oh, you're missing out. The trees are amazing.
Oh, God.
No, so, yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on all that? After that, the next question, whoever wants to take it, is also from Dragon Chi as well.
I have no further thoughts. I think you covered it, Paul, pretty well and in depth. So yeah, I'm good to move on. Geek, how about you?
Yeah, I have no further thoughts. I was actually gonna say I kind of need to bail. Okay. I cannot stay awake.
Whoa.
that is alright.
I mean, it's not even that late my time. It's almost midnight, but time zone changes and stuff from where I was and everything. I'm like, I'm not contributing anything right now.
Understand.
All right. Before you go, do you want to tell everyone what's up, where they can find you?
Yes. Yeah. So, for those who don't know, I'm the Geek Apprentice. I make YouTube videos on YouTube. Usually recently it's been a lot of Zelda and Animal Crossing. But there's a myriad of other fandoms. With the new year, I'm hoping to get at least one video for each fandom out this year. Fandom that I'm a part of, obviously. I also live stream games. I game very poorly. I tend to start games, and then I get over halfway through and go, that's too hard, and then I stop. But I love the story. I am going to start having a more consistent stream schedule. Knock on wood. That's actually going to start tomorrow at about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so should be Fridays at 7:30 or 8, depends on work and things like that. But yeah, that's where you can find me. You can find me on Instagram. I do AMAs sometimes, or post random nerdy stuff that I get. So yeah, that's me. Do I just say, do I leave now?
Yeah, I see this is the awkward part, because even when we had Joe on, I felt like I said bye to him like 10 times. Like I was offending him, like he wanted to stay and cover the news with us. Daniel, your mic.
Sorry, I was like clearing my throat like 20 times, and then I muted my mic, and then I forgot to unmute it. But yeah, no, that's like you were dismissing Joe. You were sending him away, I guess.
Yeah. And I felt
Not
weird really,
about
it, because in my mind, like, because he said his byes and everything, and he stayed on. And I was like, and I guess the rest of us are just going to cover the news, but have a great night, Joe. And then...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe he was expecting
Oh,
us to hang up or something. But I don't know. I felt rude about it. And it's like almost the same thing now with Geek, where she's like, do I just leave? Or do I wait for them to...
I've done this before. I've had to leave early before. So, but yes. I might still have like the stream up and just watching. But as far as what I'm contributing, I've got nothing. My eyes are so heavy right now. So, with that, I will say goodbye to everyone until next time or whenever I see people.
Bye-bye.
Sounds good. Good night.
Bye.
And then there were two.
Look how smooth that transition was.
It was smooth.
Yeah, because we went from the 3... See, on the podcast, the way I have it set up is on 4 people. It's like 4-player mode, and then 3 people's 3-player mode, and 2's 2-player mode.
Mm.
So, like, yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. It's just Kahoot doesn't work.
Kahoot hates you.
So I have to readjust it on each one. But now we do you want to cover, for some reason I almost said Shang-Chi.
Oh, no, that's the movie.
Yeah, that is the movie. Dragon Chi.
Sure. Dragon Chi's question for the mailbag. If Breath of the Wild 2 is slated for a November release, could that mean we get either Wind Waker HD or Twilight Princess HD early in the year as a tie-over? I don't think so. Well, we talked about this earlier, and I think I mentioned it last week. My personal thought, and I could be wrong, is that if we get either of those games as a re-release port, etc., this year, that means we will not get the sequel next year. But that's just my thought. What about you, Jesse?
I just had a laugh because Jorge was like, Joe's still sitting, waiting on the last podcast.
He's sitting on the call. No, Joe.
No, I think I've spoken to Joe. Yeah, I did speak to Joe. I showed him.
And he's like, Jesse, what's going on? Where are you?
I showed him my brother's fan art he did, which is another thing.
Yeah,
Jorge, you're here. So what we're doing is, obviously, I mean, you can mail it to me if you want. Like, it'll be on a piece of paper. But I was going to hang this up, like, back there somewhere, so it would be on screen. And I had the idea to where if someone wants to send in fan art or something, or if it's a week that someone doesn't send in fan art, then I'm going to put previous fan art on this, because we got a bunch of really great images people have sent us.
Just put this picture instead.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have it displayed in the background, and I'll put like a little whatever the username for the person is. Like, I'll put that where it'll, like, large enough to where it's visible for people as well. So if you want your fan art on the channel physically and not just like a PNG plastered on the background,
right?
I'll do that, and it'll be in this same frame covering up the 35th anniversary poster. So
just put this one, Jesse.
Yeah,
just frame this photo.
And I mentioned 𝗿𝗺𝗃 because he's the one that's sent us the most fan art before.
Yes. This is true. This is true. And some darn good fan art.
Yes.
Just good art.
No, not fan art. Friend art.
Friend art.
Yeah.
Yes. Correct.
So yeah, let's
But yes, the question, Jesse.
Yeah.
If we got Breath of the Wild 2 in November, do you think we'd get either Wind Waker or Twilight Princess earlier in the year as a tie-over?
I know it's definitely not going to be the Oracle games. I
True.
have faith in the Ocarina of Time thing. And but yeah, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are a possibility, one of, not both.
Well, I think in Dragon Cheese question they said or Wind Waker or Twilight Princess. So
I know logic tells you Wind Waker would be the first. But I would go with Twilight Princess releasing first. If one were, like, if they were to pick one, I would go with Twilight Princess because it's weird. Like, they said that, like, they pulled the Koroks and a bunch of other stuff from Wind Waker because they were working on Wind Waker HD, and it was easier to just copy and paste Koroks and make little changes instead of making a bunch of new models. And obviously they pulled the model for the king out from there as well. But then there was also the director or the developer videos that they posted on their YouTube channel where they said if you play Twilight Princess, you'll see a lot of... But honestly, like, they could have said that for any of the Zelda games. They're like, if you play this Zelda game, you'll see a lot of influences. Like,
yeah, they could have said that for any of them.
And so maybe that was just a thing to where they're like just trying to push more Twilight Princess HD sales, which it needed.
True.
But
okay, here's a thought, but hear me out.
What if we get a new Zelda game unannounced before Breath of the Wild 2? Is that what you're going to say? I know what you're thinking.
No.
I know. Exactly. Cadence of Hyrule 2.
Well, I'd be down for that. Because indies are always great. Especially indies that get the full backing and support of a big company like Nintendo. But I think if they were to announce a new Zelda game, like, I would say it would be a spin-off, for sure. If it came out before the sequel to Breath of the Wild, it would be... I really think either a remake or a spin-off. But here's a thought: I could see
Cadence of Hyrule 3
coming
just
out.
skip to. That's your thought.
There you go.
No, I'll stop interrupting you. I'm sorry.
No, you were fine. But I interrupt you. You interrupt me. It's all good. I could see 2023 which is the 10th anniversary of Wind Waker HD,
Mm-hmm.
or alternatively, it's also the 10th anniversary of A Link Between Worlds. So, Nintendo loves to pull things out on those 10th anniversary.
Poor Grezzo.
Poor Grezzo.
No, like,
They
do
have
you ever
so
think
much
they're-
more to do.
No, do you think they're ever just like, when do we get to make our own Zelda game? It's like you let Capcom do it after they failed on their first remake. We actually make good remakes, and we still don't get our turn.
Oh.
No, Grezzo could just be like, if you don't let us make our own Zelda game, we'll just remake Ocarina of Time and change the characters' names.
Are they gonna? They're gonna blackmail their way into making a new.
Apparently,
a new game
it
of their own?
works.
Pull a page out of Capcom's books.
Apparently, but yes, Daniel. Sorry.
No, that was my point. Was like that's the 10th anniversary for both those games, so I could see something happening. But alternatively, Wind Waker on GameCube came out in 2002, so it'd be the 20th anniversary this year, which is wild to think that Wind Waker is going to be
Breath of the
20
Wild.
years old. Bonkers.
There was a meme I seen earlier where it was like the Breath of the Wild collection, and it had Breath of the Wild, and then Sonic and like Kirby, and then it had,
Oh no!
but it like under each subtitle of like Sonic Frontiers, it was like Sonic Frontiers Breath of the Wild edition, and then like under the third one it was like Mario Odyssey or Kirby or something, and it said Breath of the Wild edition. Or no, it was Pokemon Arceus or whatever. But then the fourth one was Breath of the Wild 2, and it was like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, Breath of the Wild edition.
Love that.
In the chat, Spyro says new cadence of Hyrule 4 would be a big brain move, but instead of Hyrule, we're in Lurel. Because I said they were going to skip 2 and go to 3. So going to 4 would just be like, no. It's like what everyone thought that Nintendo did with Metroid, where they're like, Metroid 5. They're like, they just skipped 4.
Yeah, not understanding the Prime series is like its own self-contained series.
So you didn't have that thought, like the rest of the world?
No, I didn't, because I guess I know my Metroid lore well enough.
That P word means something. Not when it comes to pinball or hunters or Federation Force, but all the other times.
Well, hold on. Let's not knock the pinball. let's not knock the pinball.
So, yeah, we were going to cancel Metroid Prime 4, but we thought you would all be disappointed. So we've implemented the story into a new Metroid Prime pinball.
Oh no. Oh no.
Should we go to the next question?
Yes.
Like, should I just shut up now and let Daniel read? Pick out the next question, Daniel.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, me? Let's see. Actually, let's see what we've got.
Also, if you're in the
Discord.
chat, you can also give a question live as well. Also,
Natsu
yeah,
asked, Natsu asked, what 2D boss would you like to see return 3D game?
oh man, Coloctus.
That's a 3D boss.
Oh, okay.
In a 2D game.
Goma. From the first Zelda game.
Okay. Well, in a way, we kind of got that in Hyrule Warriors. The
No,
original Hyrule
honestly,
Warriors.
I just can't think of the person's name, but it's like Aquamantis or something like that, the first dragon.
Oh, Aquamantis is the dragon.
So that is the name? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's a good one. There
'cause
was
it's like-
two. There was Gleeok as well as Aquamantis.
Gleeok has multiple
and I think
heads, right?
Gleeok, yeah, and Gleeok ended up in Phantom Hourglass, I think. I'll double check that my fact checking is right. Yes, okay. Gleeok ended up in Phantom Hourglass, this two-headed dragon, although Gleeok had 2 heads, and then they also show up with 3, I think. Gleeok is twice, 2 times in Legend of Zelda.
Second Quest
The
has
original?
weird variations of multiple
Yeah.
heads.
Well, they also reuse the bosses a lot.
Or I said Thunderbird would look cool.
Thunderbird, that's a good one.
Give us Dark Link while you're at it.
That's a good one.
No, that was Shadow Link.
Well, gotten Dark Link.
Yeah, but it's a different Dark Link. It doesn't just copy your moves. Like, he actually... you just have to crouch and stab him the whole time in the corner.
I would love to see the 𝗏𝗄𝗃 King from Link to the Past.
Yeah, I was thinking, you know... I forgot what dungeon it was, but that one where it's all of the statues that just jump around. That would be really cool. Especially in a place like Dodongo's Cavern. If they brought that to 3D.
That would be cool.
Like,
there's a lot they could do that's just...
that was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
Not Mothra. I don't remember what they're actually called. What is it? Mothra? It's not just Mothra. Godzilla. Pretty much Mothra.
It's Godzilla. I know who you're talking. They're in Wind Waker. That's the big moth things from the Forbidden Woods.
Mothula. You're right. Yeah, it's Mothula.
They're just not Wind main Waker, bosses.
So we did get them, but I find them just to be one of
they're
the
like a scaled down version.
Oh, you know what? The Nightmare from Link's Awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Bring that back. Oh my gosh, there's so much cool stuff.
Would you consider that similar to Puppet Ganon?
Similar in gameplay style in that you need to... Well, okay, because they have like that sort of adapting multiple forms in that sense. Yeah. So similar. But one thing I like about the Nightmare in Link's Awakening is that it's... each form is defeated in a different way with like a different... Right? Whereas Puppet Ganon... It's all the same. You just shoot him in a glowing spot with light arrow. So really, I don't care for that boss fight much, to be honest. I find it really, like, it's always like, I'm like, oh, okay, I just gotta get through this to get to the fight against Ganondorf. So, yeah.
What I think would be a cool idea, in a non-joking way, is, I don't know what version of Dark Link it is. I think it's Shadow Link in Four Swords. How he's not a mini boss or a main boss. He's just like a random enemy that just pops up every now and then to fight you and cause you trouble.
That's right. Yeah.
If he did that, like if he did that in another game, that would be really cool. To where like you're just trying to solve a puzzle, or you're trying to have a chat with the mailman from Twilight Princess, who doesn't need anyone's help because he's just in his shorts running.
Just running.
So like
he's doing his thing.
Yeah, you're just like trying to explore it, but it's just like every now and then he just pops up, like the Blood Moon, how it just randomly pops up sometimes. So have like a Shadow Link, where it's like literally your shadow just comes off the ground. You gotta fight it like a cursed Peter Pan thing.
Fun times.
Yeah.
I realized I was thinking about 2D Zelda bosses. Like a lot of the bosses in A Link to the Past are like.
You're on Zelda
pretty
Wiki.
Similar. Yeah, I was to look up a list of bosses. But I was thinking like, okay, oh shoot, this is a good one. I couldn't, because the reason I was because some of them I can't remember for them. I can picture them in my head. But this is one I was trying to think of.
From Zelda 2?
Trinexx.
Oh yeah.
Trinexx from A Link to the Past. It's like the three-headed rock beast, but then one head is weak to fire and one head is weak to ice.
Yeah, they're in A Link Between Worlds.
I don't think they made the comeback to A Link Between Worlds.
And Banjo-Tooie.
What?
Because there's the fire and the ice dragons in Banjo.
A little bit
at
different.
The volcanoes.
They're the boss of Turtle Rock in A Link to the Past. But yeah, But anyways, that's what I was looking for. Like
Daniel
what
cosplays the mailman.
Always, I already am currently. But okay, think about this: Vitreous and Cold Stare and Argus.
You're just making up words.
These are three different bosses in A Link to the Past, and I'm gonna describe to you each of these bosses. One's a giant eyeball. The other is a giant.
Isn't
eyeball.
that Majora's Mask?
And the other is a giant eyeball with several small eyeballs.
But isn't that like in Majora's Mask? There's the eyeball thing.
Yes, Argus I think is, or it's. Yeah, like wart is what they're called in.
Oh my god, that's ugly. Argus.
Argus is he's very ugly.
Do you think the eyeball comes from a pirate? It's like Argus.
I guess.
I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense.
It is.
And Cold Stare? Oh man, that was a really... Even back then they had their things with eyeballs.
Stare. Their name is Cold Stare.
Do you really want to fight more eyeballs in Zelda?
Eyeball. They're an eyeball that's frozen in ice.
Didn't eyeballs ruin Majora's Mask?
No, I think... Okay, so... I just was making... I just brought these up because I think it's funny that they're similar.
Oh,
I love
Blind.
Link's
And the character named Blind
the
is
Thief
one of the few that's not an eyeball.
Blind the Thief is not an eyeball. That's the thing, is like the ones I really like that I mentioned before. So Trinix, the 𝗏𝗄𝗄𝗃, those are like the really unique ones that aren't just giant eyeballs.
Yeah, who's the one from A Link Between Worlds that you have to like 2D phase onto their shield?
That's Blind the Thief as well.
Oh,
That is
okay.
Blind the Thief.
It's just a different variation.
Yeah, yeah. I thought they did that Blind the Thief fight really well in Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, so
it was like,
that's who I would want.
that's a good one. That's a good choice. I'm gonna go with Trinix or Nightmare from Link's Awakening. But Trinix was a good boss in A Link to the Past. I thought, as far as 2D bosses go.
Who is Ball and Chain? Oh, okay, never mind. I'm looking at it.
Just
wrong.
like the Ball and Chain Soldier is just like a sub boss, really.
Yeah.
But they're just like a, not to be mistaken with Dark Hammer from Twilight Princess, who
Stallblind
doesn't
is the
have
one
a hammer.
from 𝗵𝗲 from House of Gales. That reminds me of Snowhead Peak, whatever the Majora's Mask Ice Dungeon is, where you have to like punch the cinder blocks down step by step.
Right.
It's like the same thing, but in a boss form. Oh, Gramps. Give me Old Man Link to fight.
There you go. I'm here for it. I am here
Oh,
for
A
it.
Link Between Worlds. Varied it up a bit. They have Dark Stare.
Dark Stare, as opposed to Cold Stare.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
right.
there's Knuckle Master, who has the eyeball on the hand.
Right. We've never seen that before. There's the...
Wait, isn't that Zant?
𝗏𝗏𝗏. Zant?
The eyeball on the
What?
hand? Or is that in Mario? At the pyramid.
Zant has... no, both. Zant's hand is an enemy. That's like... I don't think it has an eyeball, though. But it's just a hand.
Does it have an eye symbol? Like a Sheikah?
I guess it's like a design on the palm. You could say it looks a bit like an eye. There's Godan in Wind Waker has the eyeball in his hand, though.
And who's the Mario 64 hand?
Yeah, that's the pyramid. I don't remember what it's called.
That's in the Gerudo
thinking-
Desert.
Yeah, I was thinking I was looking at Link Between Worlds bosses. The 𝗏𝗄𝗄𝗃 is basically just the 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗃.
Oh,
But shiny.
Zaganaga looks cool from A Link Between Worlds. You know, the DS
sounded like
Zelda
gibberish.
games, Zaganaga?
Zaganaga.
Yeah, so the DS Zelda games had a lot of really cool implementations for their boss fights. So I want to
Yes.
take a look at their bosses.
There's one in Phantom Hourglass, like
Massive.
when the boss that you have the hammer for, you have to like use the hammer. I think that one's really. I don't remember. Here, I'll find
So Phantom Hourglass has Giant Eye Plant,
great naming.
Massive
Good
Eye,
job. Mm-hmm.
and
Jolene. 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 Jolene.
Hey now.
I was gonna say it multiple times like that because you're having to fight her.
As long as you're not making fun of my cousin.
Oh, yeah, Eox is the the boss I was thinking of. The boss in Phantom Hourglass.
Crake is in Skyward Sword. Basically, the snail with the claws.
It's not in Skyward Sword.
Yeah, you gotta use the thing to... Like, the dust billow thing. It's hiding in the sand.
Oh. Oh. That's not the same boss.
It's a thing in the shell with snappers.
It's a, like, well, no, the one, shoot, the name is escaping me. In Skyward Sword is more like a scorpion than a crab.
There's Danganronpa at the Goron Temple.
Yeah. That one.
Danganronpa.
𝗟𝗶𝗃 says the Flower Lady.
Oh, 𝗵𝗲𝗻. Why did we not think of 𝗵𝗲𝗻?
𝗵𝗲𝗻. But are we counting it as a 2D boss? Or Phantom Hourglass? I guess they're like, it's like just... Right? Close enough.
Yeah. But 2.5D is like... It still starts with the 2.
Yeah.
Spirit Tracks. What about Triforce Heroes? Do they have cool bosses?
You know, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't.
Let us know in the chat.
I couldn't tell you.
There's Stagnox. There's like a beetle.
Rock type. If we're doing
what about Burn?
Spirit Track boss, it's got to be rock type.
What about the cleverly named Burn from Spirit Tracks?
Burn. Yeah, you got Burn and Coal. I wonder what they were going for there. No, but legit.
Malladus is 𝗏𝗵𝗲 𝗀𝗃.
Rock type is basically that cut boss from Twilight Princess, and they just put him in Spirit Tracks. The Goma fight that got cut from Twilight Princess.
Wait, what?
So so in Twilight Princess, you know how you fight 𝗏𝗏𝗄.
I know nothing about the beta for Twilight Princess. Fill me in.
You know, so you know how in Twilight Princess you fight 𝗏𝗏𝗄. Kind of a lame boss fight. You just possess a giant hammer and rock, paper, scissors him to death, and then you can dive a bunch. Not in that order necessarily, but you know, from beta trailers, we actually saw there was an earlier version of the game that had a different version of that 𝗏𝗏𝗄 boss fight that involved Goma being a giant spider chasing you through a narrow, dark cave, and Link just having to book it. Terrifying.
Okay. I was
anyway,
confused.
so they reused that concept in Spirit Tracks. That's what Rocktide is. And it's like one of those chase boss fights that just gets the adrenaline just going. So let's see that happen. Just a giant like bug monster, like spider monster, just chasing you in the dark.
I thought I heard the word golem or Goron or something when you were talking about the beta Twilight Princess stuff. And I thought you were talking about that fusion where like all the Gorons just clumped together.
Oh yeah, bring that back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's Triforce Heroes. Let's look at their boss, and then we can move on. Is there a question from the live chat?
Well, there's Natsu saying that song is important to us Tennesseans. Is that true, Jesse? You're from Tennessee.
Oh no, I was saying
song.
For kind of, yeah, for like, because especially around where I live, because like Gatlinburg's like a city or two over. But I said as long as you're not making fun of my cousin because she's my cousin.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm just the character's name was.
But
Jolene.
I was joking. I wasn't being serious with that.
No, I know. I love Nats. I genuinely love how this question came them looking at all the 2D bosses.
Yeah, we're basically going through every 2D Zelda game on Zelda Wiki and being like, oh, that'd be cool.
I feel like we gave our answer we gave some good 2D bosses, and then we just went
𝗏𝗏𝗃 from from Triforce Heroes, 𝗏𝗏𝗃. That would be good. It's like a giant ice snake.
An ice snake?
Yeah.
Okay, I clearly didn't get that far in Triforce Heroes, so I.
This is the Ice Temple.
The 𝗏𝗏𝗃.
𝗏𝗏𝗃.
Oh, you know what? 𝗏𝗏𝗃 is almost like 𝗏𝗏𝗃, but ice.
Oh, and the Grim Reaper, although Stone Tower, no, Icona or Stone Tower had one.
Grim Reaper comes from you. You just
You're already dead.
you're already dead.
Natsu says,
Exactly.
Gallenberg. Are you in Tennessee, Natsu? You don't have to answer that. Jorge says, if you had to pick another franchise's style to emulate on a spin-off Zelda game, which one would it be? Final Fantasy 15. I've said that a bajillion times. What about you, Daniel?
If it's a spin-off Zelda game, Octopath Traveler. I didn't finish Octopath. I found it too repetitive, but I loved the idea of it, and I loved the art style. And I know that Nintendo would shake things up to make it more like engaging and less repetitive with the combat. So given that chance, Octopath Traveler, because I just love that art style is really wonderful.
Do we have Jessie, a man of culture? For what? What? For Blizzaga?
Yes. That ice dragon.
Question here from Cap Bergerson.
Uh-oh. Wait,
why must you continually mock me with that clip of Greg's death?
You put it in that one video, like, you used the same clip of Greg dying from my stream 4 times.
Here's the secret. If I'm editing a video, usually I try to, like, because I told you this when you first started editing videos, like every 8 to 10 seconds I'll have it switch to another clip, but I'll try to have every single clip relate visually to what's being said in the video.
Right.
Because a lot of people just put up like a trailer of Smash Bros. And then talk about Zelda stuff, the whole thing. And I'm like, no, I try to make it visually match what's actually being said, and I have it switch every 10 seconds. That way it doesn't have that feel of, well, this was just like a person talking over a random gameplay. But when it doesn't, when what's being said isn't related to a particular game or anything important, lately I have just been like copying clips and just like pasting them instead of like copying more or like editing specific thing, because if it's talking about something where there's no gameplay for it or it just doesn't matter, then I'll just have like random Zelda gameplay up. But then when it goes back to talking about something specific, then like you'll rarely see Twilight Princess footage playing when I'm talking about Wind Waker, or unless it's directly comparing the two, or if I'm talking about a boss fight in a Zelda game, you'll actually see that boss fight on the screen. You won't see a random Skyward Sword trailer from 2 years ago that has nothing to do with the boss fight from Twilight Princess, like a lot of people do. But anyways,
why not, Jet?
Because
Why not?
I hate those
Thought about
videos. Like some people, they'll talk about gaming news, and they'll just be like a gameplay clip of Call of Duty the whole time, or Smash Bros. And I'm like,
give it a try.
I can't. Like, there's been times when I've actually sat down and be like, oh, this will just be a quick video, because it's just like throwaway news, like, oh, this person said this, or Nintendo announced this. I'll be like, it'll be a quick 2-3 minute video, and then it'll be like 10 minutes long, and instead of just having a trailer of a game from the series they're talking about, like, oh, they're talking about Mario news. So instead of just having Mario Odyssey or Sunshine playing, after I finish the video that I'll intend to make, I'll go back and like chop it up and make it match what I'm saying even more, and it'll turn that 1 hour project into like a 10-hour project, and I'm like, this was supposed to be a quick video. But
wow.
Final question time? Should we do it? Do you want to pick the final question? That was a very,
Go ahead.
very, very good question from whoever this Burgerson person is. Hope we get to see more of him in the future.
Nah, don't need to. don't need to. No, you go ahead and.
All right. From Joe. After Breath of the Wild 2 is released, what do you think the general story would be for the next Zelda game? More specifically, will it take place in a new era with only references to the era of the Wilds, or will it be heavily connected to Breath of the Wild? By heavily connected, I'm talking about something like Breath of the Wild 3 or a prequel game that shows the origin of Calamity Ganon, and we also have $5 super chat from Hardapple. What does Hardapple have to say, Daniel?
Oh, Vernon, thank you for the super chat, Vernon. Appreciate it. Vernon asked, have either of you been in a bar fight? Which of you would emerge dappled in glorious victory against each other? Jessie has... Okay, well, first of all, I've never been in a bar fight, but I have won some other kinds of competitions in bars, like, trivia and chugging contests and beer drinking contests. So I can hold my own in that sense. But Jesse has the size advantage over me, so he would probably win in a physical fight. But I think I'm scrappy.
Tune in this Saturday to find out.
That's true. I'm gonna fight Jesse this weekend. I think I'm scrappy. Like in a way, because I grew up in a 4 boys household, and I was the youngest, so I had to defend myself and my food. So, but Jesse does have the height advantage for sure. I'm not a short guy, but I think I'm pretty average weight. But Jesse is a lot taller than me, so there is that.
Jesse is that.
There is that.
Jorge says settle it and smash. That's what we're doing this Saturday.
Yeah, that's true.
And then HMK's next. I'll lose every single challenge. No, so with me, no, I have not. I'm not much of a bar person. The last time I went to a bar, Daniel and I and Tubes and Geek not Geek Geek at a bar. No.
I can't even imagine that. Mm-mm.
Gibbs? Was it Gibbs?
It was Gibbs.
Okay.
It was Gibbs.
Rick wasn't with us that. Yeah, it was Gibbs. For some reason, I had a picture of Rick there in my mind.
Wrong year.
But that never existed. Also, connected to that bar, we may have someone coming on sometime to talk about fun stuff. But aside from that, no. My brother, when he is a very odd couple of jobs. When he was in college playing basketball, and as jobs, he worked at a library as well as a bouncer at a bar.
Wow, all right, didn't see that coming.
But he's like 6'4" and huge. Obviously, because if you're playing any sports in college. Geek's like, I went once. Something made me sing karaoke. Yeah. No, so
I hate karaoke.
This wasn't... The bar we went to wasn't really like a... It was a very, very tamed for a bar because it was a nerd bar.
Yeah, it was like the Star Wars themed bar. It was fun though, actually.
Yeah. And we got to see Greg and the people from EA. Technically just Greg, because we didn't know it was the people from EA, but then the next day they were on YouTube. And we're like, oh they're announcing a new... Greg. Yeah, I was like, they're announcing a new Star Wars game. Makes sense. They went to talk about it at the Star Wars bar.
Yeah, that was a good game, too.
Has one of my favorite actors in it. Final question, though. Yeah, the from Joe. What do you think, Daniel? Breath of the Wild 3 or a prequel, or do you think it's going to be something. That's the thing. A lot of people think that, like, after Breath of the Wild, what are they going to do? Because that's at the very end of the timeline, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, they can, even if, like, it did end the timeline, they could still go back retroactively and make, like, a Twilight Princess pseudo-sequel that takes place after Twilight Princess or something after A Link to the Past. Like, just because...
They've never gone trilogy, though, with it. With anything in the game. 2 and then done. Every game that's gotten a direct sequel.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. One sequel.
Yeah, the closest was Spirit Tracks. And even with that, they're like 100 years later.
Yeah, even then they throw in a huge time gap, have a different incarnation of... The only character who is still there is Nico, and he's super old somehow. He's still alive. But I guess people can live that long in Zelda. I mean, look at Impa in Breath of the Wild. Impa in Skyward Sword, even. So I guess that's fine. But even, like, the Zelda in Spirit Tracks is, like, the granddaughter or great-granddaughter of Tetra from Wind Waker. So I can't think of them ever doing... having done previously, like, a third one. Third game. It's always like 2, and then they sort of like start, not reboot it, but like they start fresh.
Yeah, I don't think they would do a third one either.
They could turn, that's it. They could just turn everything on their head because they want to. That's kind of what Breath of the Wild is all about. So
yeah, get that Cadence of Hyrule 4 out.
There you go. Yeah. Also, Rick in the chat says most of the Zelda tubers are tall. This is true. There is a
Rick's like 7 feet.
That's true. There's like a group photo from 2019.
Rick calling us tall is just making us trying to make us feel better.
Rick is tall as well, though. That's the thing. So, but I remember like just like you look at photos of E3, any like group photos, things like that, and like, yeah, dude, I'm not tall. Like everyone's telling me. I gotta find that group photo though. You know the one I'm talking about. Do you know the one I'm talking about? We went out for dinner.
I think it's the banner for.
I'm trying to remember. I might have been like standing on something. You know what I mean? Oh, I found it. Yeah. So here it is. So I'm in the back of this photo. Hang on. Anyway, so not everyone in this photo is like a Zelda tuber, but wow, I can't get the camera to focus.
Yeah, it was a mix between a FRAN meetup and other Zelda people coming along.
So there I am in the back. I'm like literally standing on like a planter box that's like Jessie's knee height to get that tall.
Yeah, but it looks like Zeltic and everyone except Commonwealth are about the same height.
Yeah, you're all freaking tall. So, and poor Maya, she's even shorter. So, like I'm 5'10". I'm not like short, you know. Just everyone else is just very tall. So, there's even also that photo of the year before when we went to see Commonwealth and Joey was still with Commonwealth, and before he moved over to Game Explain, and we took a photo with them as well. And it's just like you and Conrad and Joey, like these behemoth giant men, and then me and Kayla are just like just small people. We are the Minish people. It's
speaking
humbling.
of, earlier someone mentioned they wanted us to talk about E3 being digital again this year, but I couldn't think of anything to say about it except for
Yeah, it is.
It's digital.
It is. It sure is again. We'll probably do what we did this year, right? Just stream it, talk about it. You know, what else is there to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I don't think we'll get a third game. We've got Age of Calamity already. That's like a spin-off, and then Breath of the Wild 2. That might be it. That's what I'm thinking.
I think if Breath of the Wild 2 isn't the big multiplayer game 𝗷𝗍𝗄 wants, I think after the success of Breath of the Wild and Breath of the Wild 2 and even Age of Calamity, like every single time Nintendo finishes a Zelda game, 𝗷𝗍𝗄, the first thing he says in interviews is like, I would really like to take the last engine we had and make a multiplayer Zelda game with it. But he never gets the chance to. So I think he may have earned that chance this time. Towards like after 20 years he finally gets to do the thing that he wants to do.
Well,
unless they're like...
We have Triforce Heroes, Jesse.
Did we though?
Don't forget! Did we though? Or are we all just happy to forget that game exists? Because I am.
Breath of the Wild 2 at E3. I think it'll be before E3. I think we'll get it. At least details. Okay, so earlier I was wanting to ask this because you were talking about the marketing of some game. Breath of the Wild's original to Breath of the Wild 2 or something like that. So what if they did the marketing like they did with Skyward Sword, to where like, here's the trailer, here's the release date, there's going to be amiibo functionality. And then you have to wait like 2 more months to find out what those amiibo are and what they do.
Right.
And then you have to wait 2 or 3 more months to find out, oh, there's a soundtrack releasing for it as well. And then 3 months later, the soundtrack releases, and I'm on Twitter like, I thought they already released this like 6 months ago. Why is it releasing today? Do you remember? Like, that blew my mind. I was like, did this not release like 6 months ago? I thought people already had it. Can we all go to Jessie's house? I mean, I can fit like 2 more people in this basement.
Depends. Are they Jesse-sized people? Daniel-sized
like,
people?
This is the basement. So, like, I took the door off, and, like, it's just this thing over it now. But, like, so I ran out of the purple foam stuff, so I just used all my black foam thing. See, it's very nice of Daniel to let me try to decorate. And, like, there's the light thing, and there's the old blue and black foam, because this wall just has a sheet on it, because I ran out of foam. But presumably one day Daniel will be gracious enough to bless me with more foam.
Actually, yeah, I like the purple, honestly, because you had the blue for a while. But
and then that's the rest of it.
Purple, it matches your channel's look. You know, the whole aesthetic of it. It's good. I like it.
Thank you. And then my favorite thing, not even joking, is down here. You can see my knees. There's
that's my favorite thing
there's
too.
this new carpet.
Uh-huh.
Where is it? Yeah. It's like super duper shaggy carpet.
Right. Very nice.
That's like as long as, like, the threads are as long as, like, dog hair. So it's really, really fluffy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think you might be into like the neighbors. You're not in the basement anymore.
No, I mean it.
You're out of the basement. You're in the downstairs.
You may be confused because it used to be like windowless white walls.
Right.
And these aren't windows, Daniel. This is just foam.
I don't get it. I don't understand. So, you're not making any sense.
People talking about the if you wanted to, the basement that Daniel has had me locked in since like February, when everyone. Do you remember what started that? Yeah, because it was like February was when. Well, like everyone was talking about, we're like. It was when people were. We were talking about the rumors and stuff coming out. And everyone's like, "Oh, you just." Obviously, you just had voice actors on. They're telling you all this stuff. And they're like, no, we don't know anyone. Daniel keeps me locked in a basement. Like, I get all my info from the shoes he throws at me.
I write notes on the soles of the shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes like a leather bag instead of a shoe. Or like a scarf. If I'm feeling generous.
Does he bring food to you via a bucket? No, he just like opens the door to the steps and like tosses shoes at me.
Just throw it down.
Like, instead of cleaning his shoes when he steps in dog poo, he's just like... he just throws them at me. It's like, here, this one has some flavor.
That's terrible. Oh, no. They don't need to know that. That's between you and the shoes.
Yeah, so, yeah, so that, I guess that's that. Again, if you want to give artwork, it'll be hanging up over there above... Who is that? Skyward Sword Link.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, my favorite Zelda character is right there.
Is that 𝗏𝗏𝗃?
It is.
That's your favorite Zelda character.
One might say it's the only one that doesn't match.
You might say it, but you don't have to.
Yeah, so Daniel, what's new with you? Should we mention some guests we might have coming up?
Nah.
Okay.
No, mention it. Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
So, there's the dude from Star Wars themed bar that was open to it after the holidays and stuff. There's the dude from IGN that was open to coming on after holidays. There's a dudette from a game that we all love that's mentioned coming back on.
Coming back on.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to call the first time even a podcast at all.
Yes. No.
I mean,
yes.
Audio wise, yeah, but yeah. Anyways, yeah. So the owner of the Star Wars bar, and then Pierre from IGN, who I talked to at E3 a couple of years ago. He's been really nice to Daniel and I with old Zelda stuff, pictures and things from events that he used to be able to go to with like Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess and like old 90s era E3 stuff. So he was really nice about that. And he said he would like to come on sometime and actually hang out with us, and Natsu's correct. Yes, Andy hopefully comes back on soon. Saturday, Daniel and I, one-on-one, Smash Bros. Loser donates to the next thing. And then presumably HMK after that, and then presumably Nate from Nintendo Prime, and then if all goes well, Sean eventually. And then I imagine somewhere in there, 𝗏𝗏𝗃. Does he play Smash? Do you play Smash, Rick? I don't know. I think that's all the people that we have lined up for the podcast and other stuff.
Just to confirm for your Smash plan, are you planning to do different streams with
Different, yeah. Like,
okay,
you'll be Saturday, like, you'll lose Saturday. I'll move on to HMK. He'll lose, like, presumably, like, the week after. Then I'll move on to Nate. He'll lose that week. And then maybe Rick. And then whenever Sean... Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. The Sean thing isn't confirmed. I'm just hoping by saying it, I'll will it into existence.
Yeah, we have a habit of willing things into existence.
Because, like, when he joined the one time, it wasn't planned. It was just like, hey, I'm doing a Smash stream. Do you want to play Smash with us? And he was like, sure, let me get on.
Perfect.
Yeah. But it's harder to plan stuff for some reason. But yeah. I mean, that's the only Smash competition that I think I'll have, because I don't really consider the rest of you guys competition. But Like,
All right.
he might be a good warm-up if there's ever, like, quantum tunneling or, like, a timeline crossover and I'm able to play against myself.
What you do is you record yourself playing, and then you play at the next round.
So you're like...
You just use the magic of editing to superimpose those two matches into each other.
You mean not what I did with that Breath of the Wild multiplayer video that I use?
Oh, not that at all. Definitely very different.
Yeah, so Daniel, where can people find you? You have videos coming out. You have live streams.
I do have those things. I'm a little... you're right. No, I'm actually... I'm a little behind on some video stuff because of holiday reasons kind of set me back, as well as just a script that's taking me a little longer to get out than usual, but I've got a script in the works that's almost done for the next dungeon design video, because I'm doing a series looking at all the dungeons of all the Zelda games. But I've also got a different script in the works. But yes, you can find me. All the links are in the description of Jessie's video here. Everything is at 𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃. That's 𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. And actually, the last dungeon design video that just came out featured 𝗟𝗏𝗃, who's in the chat here, as a guest collab thing for that video, and I think it turned out pretty darn good. I think it's one of the better. I think it's one of the best in the series so far that I've done. So I'm pretty pleased with that. So that was looking at Arbiter's Grounds and Twilight Princess. Next is going to be Snow Peak Ruins, and I have another person to collab lined up for that one. That actually, it's been like months in the works to get that collab going. But let me know if you guys like those ones. Let me know who you think I should with next, and I'll see if they won't ghost me and if I can get that set up or not. And I will allow Jessie to do it if he wins at Smash on Saturday.
Wait, allow me to do what if I win at Smash?
You can guest in one of my videos.
I have the honor of... Okay.
Basically as if you haven't already guessed it in like 3 or 4 of my videos already. But that's beside the point.
Ow! I just elbowed the table. This is Daniel's basement beating me.
Yes!
It's not enough for Daniel to beat me. His basement has to make me suffer the wrath as well. Can I mention one video of yours that I absolutely hate?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
𝗧𝗵𝗲 𝗵𝗲𝗀. Because every time I go to YouTube, it's like right there in the recommended, and every time I'm watching a video completely unrelated to Zelda, it could be like a music video, and it's like the first recommended video underneath. It's like
I made that video
Hyrule
like
Tours
2.5 years ago,
and I've watched it.
Still,
I watched it the first time just because it's your video, and then to be nice, all the other times it popped up in the recommended, I watched it again. Just like, oh, okay, I'll go back, watch the video, see how it's changed from like the first Hyrule Tours to now. And it just, like, I swear I've clicked not interested on it, and it still pops up.
Oh, no. The thing is, that video, again, I've made so many better videos since then. I look back at that video and I'm like, what was I doing? Yeah, I didn't do the pro HUD. It's all cluttered. Some of the editing is just like not good, you know. And but that video, literally since it released 2.5 years ago, is always in the top 10 best performing videos week after week. When I
wonder why.
It's always getting views for some reason, and I don't know why, because like
it's
honestly,
YouTube's like, do you want to watch this video? Do you want to watch it again? Do you want to watch it again?
YouTube wants to know that one, not the videos that I have spent like a week laboring over for like 30-40 hours. No, not that video. It wants to do this old video that's not that good anymore. So there is that, but you have to watch it because Rick's right, because you live in the basement. You have to watch it. That's the rule.
Since I'm not paying rent,
that's the rule. Yeah, there you go. That's your rent. It's just the ad revenue. But yeah, and I haven't done Hyrule lately. Stuff, and I'm pretty happy with that series. But otherwise, if you want to just come and hang out and talk with me, I also stream twice a week, sometimes 3 times, but usually twice a week, every Wednesday morning and Saturday night. So every Wednesday is Breath of the Wednesday, where we stream Breath of the Wild, and Saturday night we play other games. Have been playing a lot of Metroid, but we just finished Prime 2, so we're gonna do Smash this Saturday, and then start Prime 3 next Saturday. So that's me. That's where to find me. I forgot to say the thing about my dad and the ship and the burger, the captain. Sorry about that, Nat. Next time. So,
Next time.
next time. My dad. I didn't say the thing. Jesse.
Yeah, I guess that means it's my turn now. I just want to say thank you all for tuning in. All the links are in the description. Go check out Geek's channel and Capt Bergerson's channel, and she's not here, but 𝗵𝗵𝗲. Maybe you want to play RuneScape with her? Who knows?
Yeah, people still play RuneScape, apparently.
But she recently started her YouTube channel. You can go check it out. And maybe she does streams? She says she does streams? I always see that she has past streams, but I'm always like 2 seconds late when I go. Unlike Daniel's, where it just shoves it in my face every time he's streaming. I usually have that problem with Geek whenever her streams pop up. I'm like, it only notifies me right at the end, despite having notifications on for Twitch and YouTube for everyone. So yeah, check out that stuff. Look forward to this Saturday. Have a wonderful night, everyone. We're going to be doing bingo. Join the Discord. I'll find the PNG of the bingo card that you can use, and then next week, hopefully, we'll be able to go over all of our predictions up until like March, I guess, the first 3 months of the year. And you guys can put yours in, join along with us, and then whenever March comes, we'll do more, and it'll be fun.
See how those predictions hold up, considering how apparently super well our 2021 predictions were that we reviewed at the beginning of this stream, guys. For those who tuned in late, pretty much 3.5 out of 4 things were correctly predicted, so that's pretty good. Hopefully,
and that was in August.
That was August of 2020. Yeah, that was like way before, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks for watching, etc.